All right, going live. And so my mom and brother are down, and my mom is in the living room watching some goofy baking show. And my brother is taking a nap because he was sleepy. So I am putting cross masts on my light frigate. So that's cool. Okay. I don't know why that did that. Let's share. Yeah, paste. Boom. Uh, there we go. So if anybody joins and decides that they want to actually jump in on the conversation or whatever, there you go. There you go. Uh, but yeah, right now I'm just gluing masts. One on front, two in the middle, and happy Sunday to you. Uh, I hope you're having a great Sunday. I know for you, since you're into the sports thing, there's probably football or something going on. I mean, Daniel, I used to be a huge Kansas City Chiefs fan, but then the guy on Kansas City started dating Taylor Swift, and it just kind of took all my joy out of it. I don't think I've ever showed you, but I have a actual NFL official Christian Okoye jersey. And if you're too young to know what that is, that was the Nigerian Nightmare, they called him. That was Kansas City's fullback way back in like the late 80s, early 90s. But he only ended up playing a couple of years because, I mean, the dude was like 40 years old when he was in his rookie season. But he was pretty much a badass. How you doing, Crafting Gamer? It's always good to see you, man. Like I said, I am just was putting the masts on this light frigate. I'm gonna have to put that thing on the front. It's not glued down. That's the winch to crank up the anchor. And the thing is the front and the back come off so that the interior can be messed with. So I have tons of like furniture, 3D printed furniture. So I might actually throw some beds and like, make one room the captain's room and put like a table with charts on it and stuff. And, you know, just, just to do it. The airship for Talislanta, I finished. And there it is with two cerulean mages on it. And I went with green to show that this is a cerulean ship from the Nine Kingdoms. So you've got a Cimmerillion mage and a Cimmerillion rogue mage. And then my wife's character is a Cimmerillion sword mage. Because the Cimmerillians, who are all human but with greenish tinged skin, they're all into magic. Like, magic is a huge part of their culture. As a matter of fact, it's the hugest part of their culture. Like, if you can't use magic, they think you're a loser. And they make fun of you and they tell you your feet smell and stuff. So, I've had some interesting, and I don't know if I'm being trolled or if the players are just wanting to play like weird characters. But the lady, one of the ladies, she wants to play Gnomekin. And I knew that because in every game where you can play anything even remotely resembling a gnome, she always chooses the gnome. So she's playing a Gnomekin warrior. Okay, that's cool, right? Gnomekin warrior, awesome. But then one of the dudes that always plays a fighter chose to play a muse telepath. And that's weird because the muses are the human sized people with butterfly wings that never speak because they're all telepathic in a way. But they do have the ability to summon up like a wisp, which is kind of a pet, a magical pet. And the wisp can speak for them. So that is, I mean, they're from the Nine Kingdoms, so I can't say no, right? I mean, it is what it is, but I was pretty surprised by it. And then Hungar, who every time we've ever played Talislanta chose to play a Thrall, he decided to play a blue uh, Araned Ranger, which are kind of like bird people. And the blue ones are like the more combat oriented scouts and stuff like that. Whereas the green ones are more into like botany mancy and, basically plant magic. So that's interesting, I guess. Interesting. Basically, what I'm saying is I told my players, hey, pick the characters you want. And the characters they've picked are like way outside of what I thought they would pick. Like one guy who almost always plays like, I don't know, mages. Instead of picking a Cimmerillion wizard, he picked the guys that specialize in making traps. So, the ones that look like ancient humans. You know what I mean? So yeah. Right now I am putting a gold highlight on just with one of these brushes like this, just to pick the gold back up. But so yeah, so this guy picked like a trap mage. Um, so yeah, just a lot of I mean, I told them they could only play characters from the Nine Kingdoms, and they are picking some weird freaking characters. I mean, would have been, I mean, you would think they would have picked like, I don't know, Cimmerillion Wizard. That's pretty easy. Denovian Knife Fighter. That's pretty standard. Maybe even a Jacka Scout, because they're just kind of almost like cat people that are really good at hunting people down. And or a thrall, of course, a thrall, right? A big tattooed dude with a great weapon roaming about, putting a beat on everybody. Nope. They all picked the weirdest shit they could pick. But hey, as a DM, that just makes it a challenge, right? That just makes it a challenge. I mean, and of course, they can all know each other since they're all from the Nine Kingdoms. So they all may have met while they were doing military service on the wall, because there's a great wall to the far east in the Nine Kingdoms that's designed to keep the beastmen out. So, or the subhumans. And there's no reason why they couldn't have met there during a tour of service. Hey, James Lowry, how are you doing? So that's cool. That makes it easy for me as far as, you know, it's going to be weird too, because the class that Hungar picked, they can glide for like 50 feet per level that they are, unless they have bracers of levitation, in which case they can glide indefinitely. And the character type he chose begins the game with bracers of levitation as, uh, part of their starting equipment. So basically, Hungar's character can glide indefinitely. I'm assuming it doesn't. He still has to find a tall place to jump off of, but still, yeah, he can basically glide. Once he jumps off of a tall place, he can just glide until he gets tired of gliding. So one of his skills that we spent a bunch of points on was aerial combat, because that is a skill, and if you don't have it, then you don't get to use any of the aerial combat tricks. Whereas if you have aerial combat and you're fighting somebody on the ground, you automatically can take a dodge in addition to any other action you would normally take, and you get a bonus when you're using ranged weapons. Hey, what's up, BRC? You get bonus using ranged weapons against opponents on the ground. So yeah, that's cool. And yeah, I don't think a single character in the group is not in some way a mage. They're all mages. Every single one is a mage. Like the guy who chose to be the Cimmerillion mage. Not only is he a mage, but he's a mage with proficiency in two schools of magic. Two schools of magic, which in Talislanta, that's a lot to start the game with. Very few character classes, types, archetypes start with more than one. So, and he can pick any order of magic except necromancy. That's the only order of magic he cannot pick. So, all right, you know. Yeah. So yeah, that's like let me do something real quick. Like my wife's character only gets to start with one school of magic because she's so good with swords and stuff, and also can drive airships. And with her artificer skill, could actually make an airship if she, had the material to do so. Um, and she chose elementalism. And in this game, when you choose elementalism, you have to choose what kind of elementalism. So she chose aeromancy, which means her characters can do a lot of air-based magic, like feather fall type effects and things like that, wind gusts and stuff. Whereas if she had chose pyromancy, then obviously she'd have been chucking fireballs at people. They all have their purposes. I kind of told her that I thought that aeromancy would be better for her, since her character is more likely to be a windship pilot. And if you're piloting a windship and something really bad goes wrong and you got to like bail out, you might want to have the ability to jump off the side of the windship and then lower yourself to the ground without going kersplat. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. So there is method behind the madness. There's definitely method behind the madness. Let me see here. I'm looking. or something weird. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, my aunt's over visiting with my mom. So, like I said, the girls are all out in the living room watching a baking show where no one in the show actually knows how to bake. And that's kind of the premise of the show is that none of them actually know what the hell they're doing. So, hey, there's Litholdus popping in. Let's see. Where's my a mouse at? Yeah, magic in Talislanta can be a little bit complicated compared. Not really. How you doing, Left?
Probably compared to D&D.
Well, yeah, because in Talislanta there are 20 plus schools of magic. So when your character knows one type of magic, that's one order, one school. But
Yeah,
within that one school, there's like 20 spells.
only
So, like
20
I said,
spells.
the character choosing to be an aeromancer might only have one order of magic, but within the aeromancy school, there's 20 plus aeromancy spells
Mm-mm. Those are
that are
rookie
all
numbers.
completely different than, say, if they had chose pyromancy or aquamancy or
James,
whatever.
those are rookie numbers. Need to bump those up.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you choose a Cimmerillion wizard, you get to start with two orders of magic, which means two schools of magic and all the spells in those two schools of magic. But spells in this game are a lot more like in the game you play mostly. If you want to use the spell, you have
RuneQuest.
to actually make a skill roll.
Yeah, it's a lot like RuneQuest on that.
Yeah. So you say what you want to do, and then you make a skill roll to see if you can do it. And you hope that you don't get a critical failure because then something really terrible could happen. And
It's like how you can cast Sharpen on a blade.
yeah. And if you crit fell in this game, the blade becomes super dull.
Yeah,
Can never be sharpened again.
I think that could happen in my game.
I'm sure it
Oh,
can.
either that
I
or the
mean,
weapon breaks or something. It just
right?
shatters.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I'm sure it's probably possible because I mean,
I
RuneQuest,
know.
RuneQuest and Talislanta came out at very similar times,
Times, yeah. They probably had
and
like influences on each other.
yeah, well, and they were both created by guys that had started out playing D&D but just really wanted something more. I don't know what you call it. More. They just wanted something more than D&D was offering.
I know the first time I used my hunting bow in the game, that bow broke.
In RuneQuest,
Yes.
what'd you roll? Like 100?
Yeah, I crit failed.
Well, I mean, that is the thing. When you play games where you can crit fail, sometimes you do.
I know, but I just find it hilarious. It's like the first time I try to use this bow after getting it all like enchanted and all this stuff, it breaks on me. It's just like, oh, I guess my character was never meant to use a bow.
Yeah, I was talking about Hungar chose to play a blue Aeonid scout, which is the kind of a bird person.
Oh boy.
And his character's like special ability is as long as he's wearing his bracers of levitation, he can glide indefinitely.
Hmm. Close
So
to
that'll
flight.
be interesting.
He almost has flight right now.
Yes, that's the thing. He can't fly. So if he's standing on the ground, he could jump up and glide along the ground, I guess. But then he could hit a tree or something, right?
That
Knock
would be
himself out.
hilarious and goofy at the same time.
Right.
It's
But if
like,
he
why?
climbs up a really tall tree and jumps off of it, then he could glide basically across the freaking world.
Uh,
And he's really, really good with a bolt thrower, which is a kind of very small crossbow, a dart thrower, they call it. It's a very small crossbow,
yeah.
and a crescent knife, which is just a knife, but it's. Uh, so he's a good fighter. He's got aerial combat. So if he is in the air, he can actually do combat while in the air, which could make him absolutely deadly against anyone on the ground that can't get to him, because he could just levitate, glide
around.
around in a circle, loading them full of arrows or something. So that's no bueno. But at the same time, he's got hollow bones and barely any hit points and can't
If
wear a
anything
lot of armor.
breathes on him, he's gonna basically die.
Pretty much. Pretty much. He is definitely a glass cannon. If anybody lands a solid hit on him, he's pretty much going to be dead.
I didn't have to worry about that with my character. And
What's up, GR? How you doing, bro?
I had bracers that basically gave me like a bit of armor on all my on my entire body.
Well, I mean, if they want to, because of the way Talislanta works, they can. Those of them who have magical ability can enchant items. Like every order of magic almost can enchant items.
In our game, it's just a skill that you can get. You can get the enchant skill, and everybody has magic, so anybody can technically enchant. It's just how good are you at it?
Exactly. It's a skill. If you are a magic user, you get the skill. So, I mean, they could technically try to get one of the characters to make a amulet of protection or something. But the problem is in Talislanta, to make an amulet can take like
a while.
weeks or months.
It would probably take you a few
that's
hours.
in addition to
depending on what you want on it, at least.
All of the materials you might need. You might need some crazy materials like grave dust from far off Kazad, or the freaking gizzard of a flying carnivorous ape or some crazy shit.
Now, to be fair, one of my favorite skills I had in RuneQuest and one of my characters had to be summon.
Yep, invokers are summoners in Talislanta.
I abuse that skill in the weirdest of ways. Oh boy.
The only skill that players are not allowed to start the game with is necromancy.
Necromancy?
Yeah. They're like, no necromancy for player characters to start.
Well, yeah, James, my character in that game, Sam, he found a sword with a soul in it. The soul of a Naga lady. And I'm just sitting here like, I don't really care about the sword, but this is interesting. Maybe we should get her a new body.
And how did that work out for you?
It's weird, because we started summoning random Nagas trying to get one that would be somewhat right. And I kept on summoning like a bunch of male ones. I got like 5 male Nagas one time. They were all getting really mad at me because they're like, why do you keep summoning us, you fucking ass?
Like, listen here, ass. We're minding our business in our wherever we live, and you keep bringing us here.
Yeah,
we're not happy.
And then we finally found a female Naga, killed her, and then gave the body to the sword Naga.
Wow, that is like terrible.
I know. That was probably one of the most messed up things we did.
That is truly, yeah, disgusting. Like, you guys should be ashamed of yourself for that.
That one was all on me. That was my idea. I should not have done it, but you know.
Let's summon a completely, defenseless Naga or whatever,
Well, actually,
innocent
it was a
Naga.
sorceress, but also Nagas are technically considered evil in this.
Well, okay. Because
Not
I'm
like
just
we're
sitting here
playing any
like,
good characters here.
I'm just sitting here like saying, damn, you just like
Well, they're not exactly considered
stole
evil,
somebody's
but
body.
yeah, we were playing body snatchers at that point. But they
What's up,
are
Mikey
hated in most
Stronghold?
areas. Like most areas, Nagas aren't even allowed. They'll kill on sight.
Ah.
But you know, I didn't know what it was, but I just wanted to have a Naga companion, I guess.
See, in Talislanta, the way it works is you have alignments, but the alignments are nothing like D&D. So when you make a character, you choose whether you wow. You hear that?
Somebody's upset.
Yeah, somebody's upset. But
Somebody's angry.
anyway, um, uh, hey, stop yelling because I'm in here recording. So, so anyway, so you can be like a character that follows all the beliefs of your race. You can be a character who doesn't follow the beliefs of your race, or you can be like amoral, like neutral or unaligned or whatever. Um, so
To be fair, I don't think there's exactly a that we might have alignment, but it's like a thing that's not very strictly held up. The only thing that is just like almost universally always evil, and I think it's actually just universally evil, is chaos. There are evil gods too, I guess, but the chaos is pretty much always. If you see any chaotic creature, it's evil. Kill it.
right, of course, like trolls and all that are chaotic.
I mean, there
But
are technically some trolls that you could deal with. It's just that do you really
see, in
want to?
Atlanta, it's a lot more complicated than that because it's like you're like it's like if you choose to be um like a true believer or whatever, then whatever the alignment or whatever that your character is what how you're going to be. But and then if you're amoral, then that you're amoral. You don't give a
No.
shit about anything. But
Troll?
anyway, hold on, I'm going to be back.
Okay. Well, I guess it's my show for now. So how's it going, Michael Stronghold? GR. Robert Copeland. The Crafting Gamer. James Lowry. How's it going for you? Guess I could talk about more about my game. I don't know what to do here. We've had some weird things happen. Shoot, I don't know what to say. Oh, let's see. There was that time we had the Janie, which I used to get myself a fairy. That was weird. I'm trying to think of things to talk about. I'm not good at these things off the bat, or off my head, off the top of my head. To me, ah. Oh,
Had to roll it. Had to roll in there and inform the ladies that they need to calm the f down.
Oh,
Apparently, somebody's calling my aunt from somewhere and accusing her of sleeping with a guy she'd never even heard of.
that's an interesting thing.
So she, of course, got pretty upset about. But I'm like, hey, do you guys scream like a maniac? I mean, Jesus Christ, you know what I mean?
Have you
Just
ever
tell
been
her
accused of
you have
anything?
no idea what she's talking about, and move on with your life, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it ain't got to be crazy.
I mean, heck, in elementary school, some crazy lady thought that I spat sausage at her, even though I was eating cereal.
That sounds like she's just looking for an excuse to talk to you because she's thinking, "Damn, look at that ginger over there.
Maybe I didn't like her though.
He's pretty. I'm going to go talk to him." And then you're all like, "She's like, did you spit your sausage at me?" Which could have been code.
No, a piece of sausage flew by from somewhere,
I'm just saying it could have been code for something.
and this is elementary
Sounds to
school.
me like she was interested in your sausage.
This is elementary school, James. I don't think we even thought about that.
Well, why are you telling me stories about elementary?
Just saying.
That,
People
that's
accuse
weird.
you of weird stuff. That's all I'm trying to
Yeah,
say here.
that's strange. I mean, that's been so long ago, nobody even knows. Like, I don't even know about it. Like, I don't even remember elementary school.
I do a little bit, not much.
Yeah. Well, I barely remember last Tuesday, so
Yeah,
it's all
back to gaming though. Weird thing about trolls in my game, they look like perfect humans, but they'll eat anything, like
yeah.
literally anything.
In RuneQuest, what are the monsters? They're like beastmen, and they're
That's it,
like
Beastmen.
really evil.
Beastmen.
And okay, so
They're just
there
called
you go.
Beastmen.
They're beastmen. All right.
Yep. They're made by an evil goddess that of like a lot of terrible things.
Yeah, because they're like the worst things ever.
Yeah. They do the whole.
They goblinate things.
Yes, they goblinate things.
Yeah, 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 yeah. They
Absolutely
goblinate the
evil. You
cheese.
always kill them. Never be around them.
They goblinate the whiskey. Oh well,
Even the whiskey.
they must die then, because
They can they can reproduce with everything too, and that's horrible.
yeah. Well, you know what game actually had that is Dragon Age.
Yeah.
In Dragon Age, at least the first one, because I've heard all the other ones after it really suck.
They kind of do. I mean, 2 wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good either.
Right. The Darklings kidnap females from any other species, and then they like basically turn them into brood mother creatures, which are, gigantic, fat,
Yep.
tentacled, horrible things that just constantly give birth to Darklings. And depending on what race the brood mother had been, determines the likelihood of which types of Darklings. So
Yep.
if it was a dwarf, then you'll get a lot of the little squat Darklings. And if it was an elf, you'll get more of the tall, skinny Darklings. But I mean, ultimately, it was just really creepy. And the first time I played it, I was like, geez, that's terrible. That's really terrible. And then I killed her. But still, that's not the point. The point is, that was terrible.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I did
you
have
know,
where my cousin that one time where he was thinking about getting like a familiar, like one of those beastmen as a familiar, and I'm like, if you get that, I'm my character's out of the party.
well,
No,
your cousin's evil, though. We've already determined that. And I don't mean in game.
he's not evil. Not really.
Not really. I don't know. It's like every time you talk about any game that you and your cousin play, and you say anything that your cousin is doing in game, it's always like the worst thing. It's never like my cousin decided to spend all of his gold to build an orphanage. It's always more like my cousin summoned a demon and married it.
He didn't
Like,
marry the demon. He just supercharged it.
right. You see
It's
what I'm
like,
saying, though,
no, he had the. Actually, he was going to marry a character. My guy. Right? No, never mind. That was actually his. He found that shit.
Yeah, yeah, never mind, because it's going to make him look worse, so you're not going to
No,
tell that
no,
story.
I forgot. No, it was. I forgot who's. Like we had to
Whose
find.
demon was getting
No,
married?
no, it was normal human ladies, but I forgot that it was the one that he found, the one that he was marrying, not the one I found. We had to
Was
find
it
a chef for.
succubus or something?
No, they're human. We just needed to find a chef, and we both found one. They didn't
You
expect me
needed
to come back with a chef.
you needed a chef,
Yep, for our ship,
and you
somebody to
ended up
cook.
with wives.
Well, he did. I didn't. Though she
Okay.
became very strong and capable.
All right. Awesome.
She's got like 2 shadow familiars.
I mean, and I'm not against that sort of stuff necessarily, but yeah, your cousin just seems to be a little bit evil.
Well, she's at least a good character. She's not evil.
He would be what is in Talislanta known as amoral,
I mean, fair.
which is a character that has no morality and just does whatever it wants to do whenever it wants to do it without regard of how it might affect anyone else.
Look, he's adopted orphans at least. That's not bad.
Okay, adopting orphans is cool. Unless he adopted them because he intends to do something horrible with them.
He's not intending anything horrible with them.
Because Hungar had a character that built an orphanage, but then he started training all the orphans to be thieves so that he could have thieves for his guild because he was a thief.
He wanted his own thieves guild, so he's just trained orphans to become thieves.
Yeah, he wanted his own thieves guild, so he literally made an orphanage.
Well, I mean, we were training them to be pirates, sort of.
And started training all the orphans to be thieves. And it was
We
just
were in that
like,
swashbuckling adventure type of game.
all right, that's cool. Be a bunch of thieves doing thief stuff, I guess. But
I mean, there's some other good things
this
he's
lady
done.
keeps calling. She's like,
Usually,
I know you're sleeping with my husband, James. And it's like,
I mean, he usually feels bad when he accidentally has an NPC get killed or something.
if it's that girl, have Tracy answer phone and say, I'm married to James. That'll throw some spice in the fire.
Yeah.
Like, how can you be married to James if I'm married to James? Well, that's what I'm wondering. What's going on here? Sounds to me like James has 2 wives.
It's like that one time where
Which I technically do. I told Tracy since I beat that Korean game that I now have 2 wives. I have my real wife and I have my waifu wife.
Doesn't everybody want a waifu?
Yeah, I got my waifu wife, Grand Dong.
You like the
Yeah, I know, Asians, right? It's like, do they not even hear their own names and think, that's stupid. But the whole time I'm playing the game, right, when they're speaking Korean, I'm just sitting there listening and I'm like, how do they even understand each other?
I don't know, but James,
it's like, what in
Germans
the F
also
are they
have
even
weird
doing?
names. I mean, the Germans made a super heavy tank and called it the Mouse.
Well, that was a joke, though. At least we know what a mouse is. I mean, what would have been called if it was Korean? You know, the I don't even know what.
The Dicker Max.
And I'm like, I'm not trying to make fun of the Koreans necessarily, but damn, their language is like.
I mean, the
It's
Germans
it's
also
it's,
had some
it's like,
innuendo
what
names
are
with
you
the
even
Dicker
saying?
Max.
Huh?
The Germans also had some innuendo names with like something called the Dicker Max.
The Schwarzmax?
No, the Dicker Max.
Look, Germans have weird names. I don't understand why you keep bringing the Germans into this, though. We're not talking about the Germans.
It's like Koreans, Germans. Oh, there's a lot of different groups that have weird names.
Because I have not recently played a game where I got German waifu. But
There
if
might
I
eventually
did,
be
that would
one.
be kind of weird, though. Can you imagine like a bunch of burly German women move into your apartment and then they're all just screaming in German at you all the time? And you're just all like, oh my God.
Hey, or you could get the one that looks like she's from Oktoberfest and that gets you beer all the time.
Oh, they would all have to be hot Germans, otherwise that'd be the point of the game.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you know, you got a bunch of German chicks hanging about the apartment, raising hell. And you know what all the girls in that game's problem is? I figured it out.
What?
They all want to live in Gangnam. I mean, I don't know if that laugh means you understand what I'm saying or not.
Mm-mm.
Gangnam, like the song Opa Gangnam Style.
Oh, they.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
idiot. Gangnam is like basically the super wealthy, richest part of Seoul, Korea. And all Koreans want to live in Gangnam, except it's super, super expensive to do. So, I mean, you want to talk about some of the most shallow people on the planet. I mean, they like lead the world in like cosmetic surgery. You
Yeah.
know, men get their chins sharper, the women get their eyes rounder. Uh, it's like it's crazy, you know. And then they all want to live in Gangnam. Which, if you watch the video, that Opa Gangnam style video, you will see the playground that you bought the CD in the game from, and also went on the swings with the one girl. And then you'll also see the giant ducks in the Han River, the ones you get in and paddle around.
Yep.
Yeah, you'll see them in the video.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like, but that is the problem. If they moved out into the country away from Seoul, they'd probably be able to, you know, have decent jobs and get married and have kids and blah, blah, blah. But they all want to live in Gangnam. So it would be like if every person in America, like I said, wanted to live across the street from Trump Tower in Manhattan.
I
But then
wish.
all they did is bitch about the fact that it was so expensive. It's like,
Well, yeah.
well, you're the one who made it expensive because you chose to want to live next to, you know,
Trump
in
Tower.
the richest part of the whole country. Plus, a lot of South Koreans don't like Americans very much. They feel like we're occupying them. Like the college kids, a lot of times do protests and shit. You know, America go home,
So
which
what?
I'm a big fan of. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
load that shit up and leave.
Let them deal with North Korea by
I'm sure they
themselves.
could, though. That's the thing. It's like North Korea
Well,
can't do shit to them guys.
look, if it was just North Korea, then yeah, you're right. But they would be getting support from China.
But if the Chinese step in, then we step in too. And so, you know,
And that's why we haven't left yet, because that's what would happen.
we haven't left because that's just what we do.
Yep.
If you invite the Americans into your country, we're never leaving. Just forget about it. You know,
Even though we should for a lot of
even though we
places.
should, we're not going to. It's like, no, you invited us in, or we beat you in a war. Either way, we're here forever now, and just get used to that because that's just how it is.
I mean, I bet if you're a soldier, being based in Okinawa would be nice, but still, I don't know if we should be there.
Well, it turned out nice for Max, I guess. He found a wife,
Yeah.
so 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 yeah, there's that. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. That game, like Asmongold said, it is a life-changing game.
I didn't see it as a life-changing game, but maybe it's because
Have you
I'm
beat
weird.
it yet?
No, but I mean, I didn't
There
really
you go.
care to do it, especially after hearing how it ends.
Oh no, there's 5 endings.
I know you've told me a few of them.
Yeah, I mean, but you can have all kinds of different endings. Not only are there the normal 5 endings, but there's secret endings too.
Yeah. I don't know.
So
Again, it might be because I've already played a few weird date sim kind of games. I'm just like, it's like that.
yeah, it doesn't bother you because you're already a weeaboo, so you're like,
Yeah.
this is normal.
this,
This is fine.
this is more normal than half the things I've seen.
Yeah, you're like, this is fine. I'm okay with this.
Like, I mean, Unicorn Overlord had that date simmy aspect to it that is just really weird. Like the 9 foot tall, crazy buff lady who's possessed by her grandfather.
What?
Yeah, I
That
know.
sounds terrible and terrifying.
Yes, it is.
A 9 foot tall buff chick possessed by her grandfather, and what are you supposed to do about that?
Beat her in the gladiator arena.
I should hope so. I'd hate to think that was a romantic angle because it'd be like, Grandpa's awful weird.
Well, after you beat her the second time, because that's whenever the possession happens, she'll become more normal because she's no longer possessed. At least the curse has been broken
you
at that
can
point.
always, if you choose, when the guy with the goatee and the mustache shows up, you can just kiss him.
Yep.
And that changes the whole game because then,
I don't know. That seems weird too because I've had him pop up a few times and it seems weird, like he's weirdly attracted to you either way.
Yeah. The dude obviously, like toward the end, if like he offers you his sausage and you smack it out of his hand, say you don't like sausage, he cries. So it's weird. You're like, what's up with this guy? Why are these Koreans so weird?
Also, in Unicorn Overlord, there's your cousin who dresses like your mother.
Your cousin who dresses like your mother. See,
yeah.
That's getting into some Freudian shit that I don't even want any part of.
I know. This is wrong on so many different levels.
Is that Japanese or Korean?
Japanese.
Yeah, they do some weird shit.
You can actually marry her, and when you propose to her, she's just like, give me the ring now. She's like, ring now. I know it was me.
Wow.
She's horrifying. Terrible.
She's like, I'm not bullshitting around. I want the ring. I want it now. Also, take me home. And,
my favorite romance from that, though, was probably Melisandre. She's like the swordswoman who's just like, I don't know how you'd say it. She's like a female version of like, all those like suave, debonair sword masters that you'd see.
There was a Melisandre in Dragon Age Origins.
Huh.
She was a black-haired goth chick that was kind of a witch.
Yeah.
And if you had a baby with her, it created some kind of Yog Sothoth. Like,
if you're talking about me, Robert, that was Unicorn Overlord, one of the best strategy games that came out recently-ish. Now.
Yeah, that's what he says because he's just trying to hide the fact that it's full of Japanese weeaboo bullshit.
The tactical RPG side of it is really good and really well done.
And then there's the porn side.
No, it's not. It's not. It doesn't ever get into anything real dirty. It's just that you can romance and marry a character. That's about as much
Yeah,
it
I'm
goes
just
into.
messing with you. And the game I'm talking about is called Five Hearts Under One Roof, which is a Korean game that has made me like completely second guess everything I ever thought about Koreans. Like, how do
I
they
just
have a civilization when no one should be able to understand anyone in that whole country? Because their language is so effed up. It's like, what are you even saying?
their
You know?
language, their manner of speak is so messed up.
Right. And it's like, I was watching for words.
Even if you have subtitles on, I'm just like I can't comprehend what they're saying.
Right. Because I was watching for words and it was like they said yes like 9 different ways. It was like if he was happy when he said yes, it was like a sigh. But otherwise, like if the girl said yes, she would just go nee. And it was like, what the F is going on here?
Yeah, at least Japanese, I think, only has one way of saying hi.
Oh yeah, yeah. That one,
Or not
forget
hi,
about.
but yes, yes.
It's like it's like they're saying shit, and you're just like, how is this like? How is this a thing? It's like, I know you created a culture. I just don't understand how.
And one that used to
Because I
be,
don't understand how any of you communicated with anyone else.
and weirdly, somehow used to be regionally dominant.
Oh yeah. Well, they're still a little bit regionally dominant. They regionally dominated freaking Johnny Somali. And the Korean special forces guy that waited for him to get out of the hospital and beat his ass. Someone posted bail for that dude and then put him up in a 5-star restaurant or hotel. And there's like a bounty out for Johnny Somali. It's like all these guys are passing his image around, and it's all like, if you see this guy, beat his ass. So
Oh boy.
to me, that's hilarious because I hate that guy. So I'm glad.
Hey, fair.
But
I
but
don't know
somebody
much about him, and I
reported the
just didn't
special
care.
forces guy beating his ass, and it was pretty hilarious. I mean, that dude beat the brakes off of him. You know what I mean? Just
Fair.
whipped his ass. But apparently, Johnny Somali was making fun of the pleasure girls from when Korea was under Japanese uh, occupation,
Yeah.
which was basically the women that the Japanese forced into prostitution. So Johnny Somali like rubbed a statue of one of the pleasure women down in baby oil and then rubbed himself down in baby oil and was basically humping the thing. And when, that film got out, the Korean men were just like, oh, yeah.
Time to kick his ass.
Like the Japanese just kicked him out of the country. The Koreans froze his passport and just started beating his ass. So, and he's looking at 10 plus years in Korean prison. So I'm sure all those Korean men in prison are going to treat him real nice. So, and I just think it's hilarious because, like I said, I hate that guy.
Hey, fair enough. I mean, I didn't really pay attention to him.
He's one of those guys you see on the internet, and every time you see, there's
Hey,
Hungar.
Hungar.
Look at that. Every time you see him on the internet, it's never for anything good. It's always for like going to another country and just pissing everyone off there.
Hey, Johnny Somali?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck that guy.
And this time he went to the wrong country.
He found out that Korea don't mess around.
Yeah, because he's went to like all kinds of other countries and effed around and
Well, Japan and Israel, and they just kicked him out of the country.
yeah, they just kicked him out. They're like, get out of here, whatever.
Korea's
But
like, give us your passport.
yeah, the Koreans are like, you're not leaving. You're probably going to prison, and every Korean man that runs into you on the street is going to whip your ass. Just count.
They were hunting him down for sport as their national pastime.
They were like literally. They had like message groups.
Korea has a
Where-
new national
Where
sport.
they were posting Johnny Somali sightings.
So
on the
Korea
message
now has a
group.
new national sport.
Right, hunting Johnny. It was like on the message group. And one time he was at a hotel after he'd insulted some Korean women by threatening to get them raped. And the Korean men tracked him down by the pizza boxes.
Yeah.
He had ordered pizza from someplace, and they tracked his ass down by the pizza boxes. And they showed up and beat his ass, put him in a hospital.
Not the craziest things that I've ever seen somebody track something down from.
No. The craziest thing was when they tracked down Shia LaBeouf's flag
Yeah, that was crazy.
by using the stars and honking horns and shit like that.
Yeah, you don't
Honking
mess with
horns,
sports.
stars, and flight patterns of aircraft.
Right? Yeah, which just goes to show you that if 4chan and Anonymous want to find you, they will find you.
Yeah.
And they have before.
The greatest game of capture the flag ever.
Yep. And they went and put a Pepe flag up, Kekmenistan or some shit like that. They made that guy so crazy he converted to Catholicism, and just you never hear from him anymore. He just vanished. You know what I mean? It's like
I know.
he was in the movie Fury, and I don't even know if they put him in the credits. And most people didn't even know he was in the movie.
I didn't even know he was in the movie, but I
He's
never
the
watched
radio
it.
operator.
He was the gunner. He was the main part of the movie.
He was
Fair
the
enough,
radio operator that also fired the hull-mounted machine gun.
Well, here's the thing. I never watched Fury anyway.
Well, it was a pretty okay movie, but they took a lot of liberties
Yeah.
with the way tank warfare actually works.
They always.
No kidding.
Like when the Tiger hits the Sherman tank, what the Germans trained to do is you hit the last vehicle first, then you hit the first vehicle, and then when the rest of the vehicles are trapped between the two, you just pick them off, right?
Yeah.
But in that movie, they didn't do that. And then even though the German Tiger was in like a really great position,
It moved.
He moves
it
up
moved
forward.
out into the open so that it could get killed. And it's like, why would any Tiger commander do that?
Not to mention, the other thing is that they somehow did not use the 76 Sherman to fight the Tiger, even though it would have been the one that you would use.
Yeah.
And one thing is, the Tiger would have known that and would have killed that one after, doing what you
They would
said.
have killed the Fury first.
Ugh.
The
It's
Sherman Jumbo or whatever it was.
It wasn't a jumbo. It was
just.
it was just an E6, not E6. 76 Sherman.
Yeah, they would
It
have.
was an Easy 8 Sherman.
Yeah, an Easy 8. They'd have whacked it. But that's what I'm saying. The Germans that they had in the movie were all just retarded.
Yeah.
And it's like there's one time they get ambushed by like a German Pack 75 hiding in a wood line, and it can't hit them. It just and they end up killing it, and it's just like, I mean, what's going on here? These are the worst Germans of all time.
Yeah.
They can't kill anyone. Like they. Rob, what game am I playing? What do you mean, computer game? Or
No, that was back. You already told them. That was already there.
So,
That was
okay. I didn't know. Maybe he.
Nope, that was a while ago.
We're early. We're doing this early today, so a lot of people are. I don't know. I don't know where they are. I mean, it's after church, so.
I can't wait for my game. That's tonight.
Yeah, because my mom is down and Hungar, we're probably not going to game tonight. I mean, we are, but we're not going to play the role-playing game.
Yeah, you're probably going to play a board game.
Yeah, board games or something like that. And then the wife and my mom have been watching like all the Hallmark
Oh
Christmas
yeah.
movies because it's that time of year. So
No, they don't. What do you mean? No, they don't. I'm confused on that one.
no, they don't. Yeah, I don't know what that means.
I don't know if he's talking about that movie or if it was something else that we talked about.
Yeah. Which game are you playing tonight?
It's the one where I'm playing the cleric,
Okay.
the Heronius cleric. I can't wait though.
That's cool though.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll actually get to do a little bit more. Last time it was a lot of talking.
Well, I mean, sometimes that's just how it goes.
I know, but we've been in this town for a while now. The most exciting part of that one's already behind us. We really need to move on. Maybe we can fight some bandits or something.
You got those traveling blues in the soles of your shoes.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, Rob, I don't know what no they don't means, but that's fine. I'm still waiting for my copy of freaking Blood and Plunder, my 2-player copy to come in. It didn't come in, so hopefully it comes in tomorrow or the next day so Hungar and I can try to play a game of it. You know? And it's basically like Mordheim, kind of. It's a skirmish game. So Mordheim or Frostgrave, except pirates in the 17th or 18th century. So I haven't put the front cells on, but when you buy your pirate warband, you can also buy ships. Like this one, depending on which variant you get, is pretty cheap, like 12 points, and you get 100 points. So, and also you can play missions where it's just straight up you versus another ship with your crews on the ship, shooting at each other with muskets and the ships firing cannons and whatever. So, I mean, so basically it's like Sid Meier's Pirates, except analog. So, and I think Haas is, Hungar is talking about playing Pirates. And I have the English starter box. So I've got the English nationality. Even though I ain't got the money for it, but I was looking at the Indian starter stuff. Because you can get Indians like Carib or whatever types of Indians. And you can also, for very cheap, equip your Indian warband with dugout canoes. And then send them, like if there's a pirate ship somewhere near your village or something, you can charge it with a bunch of canoes. You know what I mean? Which could be fun, a bunch of Indian warriors in dugout canoes chasing down a sloop. Like, get back here. And you can also use the Blood and Plunder rules to play like the 7 Years' War. So the French and Indian War and all that. And they sell war bands for that. So if you wanted to play like the Last of the Mohicans, you could. Yep, putting some freaking grass on some miniatures because sometimes that's just what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, basing actually, you can paint a miniature like very not very great, like middling at best. And then if you put a base on and like a tuft of grass, all of a sudden the miniature will look like way better. You know, it's one of those things. It's like you can paint your miniature, and it can be painted neat and all that, and it looks okay. But then you put a wash on it, and all of a sudden it looks like, damn, that's a great looking miniature. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, just secrets to miniature painting. Now, I don't think Hungar wants to play a sea battle with me, though,
Why not?
because he would get a sloop and I would get a light frigate.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't sound like fun.
So, the only thing he could do is run, just turn into the wind and go. Because if he turns into the wind, his ship would be a lot faster than mine. But if he lets me get close and get a broadside off, you know, he's eating all those medium cannons. And he only carries light cannons, which means that there's a really good chance, even if he hits my ship, that it's not going to hurt it. Because my ship is heavily built, whereas his ship is lightly built. And that means not only will my cannons damage his ship every time they hit it, but the ship offers no cover to the crew.
So it'd be a losing crew and basically heavy damage to his ship.
Yeah, so it's going to basically sling a cannonball right through the hull of the ship and possibly kill his crew while I'm doing it, you know? But that's why when you're in a sloop or a schooner, you don't fight with light frigates. You
You run
you
away.
just go. Yeah, you just go. You're like, nah, not doing that. I found a guy on Etsy that's selling cracks, or as the Portuguese call them, nows or nows, for like 30 something dollars. And I was seriously thinking about ordering 3 of them because that's the type of ship that Christopher Columbus had, the 3 ships.
Ah, yeah, Nina Pinta, Santa Maria.
Yeah. And they were used for like centuries after the fact. You know what I mean?
What if I want to run Venetian Galuses?
You can. Pretty much any ship cross the T. Cross the T. Are we talking about? Okay, you're gonna have to tell me what I did wrong. You can't just say cross the T. You're gonna have to be like it's pronounced like, and tell me what we're talking about because I don't know. But
Are
anyway,
Venetian Galuses any good?
what
Are Venetian Galuses any good?
is it? First off, is it like a 17th or 18th century ship or 16th century?
Oh God, Age of Sail. I'm trying to remember what it was. What time?
I know that you can use what they call a zebec. It's like a really long, kind of narrow ship with 3 masts with lantern sails.
Okay,
And they were
16th
used a lot
century.
in the Mediterranean, but also saw some use in, the Caribbean.
Okay, I found it. It's a 16th century ship.
Then, yeah, you could use it.
It's a
I
galley
mean-
with the firepower and sail plan of a galleon. Hybrid design made it a formidable opponent in the Mediterranean Sea.
All right. Yeah. I mean, the Venetian ships, yeah. I mean, most of the ships, believe it or not, like the schooner I made, has rules for using oars. They call them sweeps, and you can, if you find yourself like effed by the wind or something, you can, have your crew.
I find this interesting. Speed, relatively slow, requiring towing into position by other galleys.
Yeah, I don't think you would want to use that, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. Not in that game, at least.
Because I mean, if your ship is so slow that other ships have to tow it into position, you're in trouble.
Has heavy guns. It's really good in a lot of ways, but it's relatively slow and
Yeah, you're in
really
trouble.
terrible.
Naval tactics, selling your line. Oh, yeah, that's what you're talking about. When you sell your line through the enemy's line, so you can broadside on both sides.
Eh.
Yeah, that's how I think Nelson or whatever defeated the Spanish. Asked that when James left for a moment.
Oh, yeah. Well, it must not have shown up until later because, it came. I only saw it after James came back, and it wasn't there for the whole time James was.
Yeah, sometimes it do be like that.
Yeah.
So just cut us a little bit of a break. We're not trying to be any sort of way. Sometimes the computer just does what it wants. But yeah.
Oh boy,
So
though.
let me see.
I
Swivel
remember the
gun.
Venetian Galus from Uncharted Waters. It was the second best ship in the game.
Yeah, but it had to be towed.
In that game, it didn't, and it was fast enough. I guess they didn't go for historical accuracy on that.
Right. Because I mean, any ship that has to actually be towed by another ship,
That
that's
would
a
be
bad
terrible.
ship.
Yeah,
That's not a good ship. It's kind of defeating the point of being a ship.
yeah. I mean, for the Venetian Galus in that game, what made it good was that it didn't need wind to go anywhere. It was slower without the wind, but it didn't need the wind, which a lot of other ships would have horrible times going around places just because of that.
Yeah, obviously it didn't need to win because it would be tied to another ship getting
No,
drugged somewhere.
in the game they just made it where your characters would row it because it's a rowing ship.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
It's a
I'm just
giant
being a
galley,
smart ass.
just a big ass big galley.
Like, don't worry about it. We're
The
we're just
best,
sailing around, just
the
doing our
best,
thing.
the best ship in Uncharted Waters was the Tekusen.
Is that the Korean turtle ship?
Nope, it is the Japanese ironclad that Nobunaga used.
Oh. Well, I mean, did they allow you to use American ironclads?
No, in fact,
Okay,
this was
then.
still 16th century, so technically, I think the
Yeah.
Japanese had the first ironclad here in this game.
This is the ship that my crew will be on.
I want to check that actually. What was the first ironclad?
This guy is almost 2 feet long, 18 inches at least. And I'm going to have to put all the rigging and the masts on. But the negative to it is slow.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay, so the Monitor was I guess it was a fictional ship then, because otherwise,
Because the Japanese didn't have enough iron to make an ironclad,
yeah,
which makes sense because they didn't.
yeah,
They had such a shortage of iron that they actually had to use iron sands.
yeah,
And the whole reason they folded the steel so much wasn't that it made the steel better. It was that it got impurities out of the steel. Otherwise, as did happen many times, a katana, if you blocked it, it would shatter like glass.
yeah.
And
I
that's
don't know
why the
this.
samurai, most of the time in battles, carried spears or bows in the early periods. As a matter of fact, the original samurai was a horse archer.
Yep.
That was the original point of a samurai. They
Well,
were
there's
horse
a
archers.
model of a Tekusen. Maybe it wasn't ironclad though. Maybe I'm misremembering it. It was actually just a really weird big ship that Nobunaga
I'm pretty
had.
sure that the Confederates created the first ironclad.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the hull was made of resin,
Resin?
Yeah. Why? While other parts are
Like
reproduced.
what? They 3D printed it?
No, oh wait, no. This is about the. Okay, that's about the model. I thought that was talking about the actual ship. As a and thing. I was like, that seems weird. What does it mean by resin there? That's just a resin model.
Oh. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the first ironclad was the USS Virginia. That went on to be called the Merrimack.
Well, I think that would be if you wanted to talk about the conversion. The first truly built ironclad would be the Monitor.
The Monitor. But the Monitor was built the same way as the Merrimack.
Oh, really?
I mean, under the water, it wasn't iron.
No.
It was wood, but the difference is the Monitor had a double cannon turret.
Yeah, but I think
And
the
the
Monitor was
still had broadsides. Or the Merrimack had broadsides,
Merrimack.
the Monitor had a turret.
Yeah, you got that
Which
backwards.
made
Also,
the Monitor actually better because it could fire at the opponent from anywhere.
yeah. The other thing is, I think that the Monitor, even though it's built the same way, was purposefully built as like that, and wasn't just a conversion of an older ship.
Look, you're full shit.
How?
Over. Because you're basically making the argument that the Monitor was the first ironclad because it was built to be an ironclad.
Well, I'm saying that it's the first
other
purposely built
ship was
ironclad.
a rebuilt sailing ship, and it's like, I don't know.
I would still say the Virginia is the first ironclad.
Well, yeah,
I'm
the
just-
Merrimack.
I'm
Because
just saying
the
that
Virginia got damaged or something, and then they.
Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, see, the Tekusen's not ironclad; it's just iron reinforced warship.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the Virginia got damaged or something, I believe, and they're like, well, let's you know, put some steam boilers on this bitch and cover it with iron and see how it works. And it worked really well.
Yeah, it worked really well. In fact, I mean, the Monitor couldn't fight the Merrimack or Virginia at the time.
Well, they fought each other to a standstill. Neither one
I
could
know.
really sink the other.
Yeah, no, that's just what I'm saying. That neither could actually hurt each other. They just kind of sat there and fought for like a day and left.
Gotta hand it to the Union, though. After the Merrimack rolled out and started wrecking wooden ships, the Union had their own ironclad pretty quick.
Yeah.
They were like, hold on a second here.
Although I think
because when the
making it
Merrimack
beforehand,
originally
anyway.
rolled out of port,
Yeah, weren't the
it
Union
was
making that?
just smoking the shit out of Union ships.
Yeah,
They were
I
like,
know, but weren't they already making that ironclad beforehand?
they might have been. I don't know. But the
Yeah, I
point
think
is,
they were.
the Merrimack rolled out, and I think it destroyed a couple of the Union ships that were being used to do the blockade. And I think, if I remember correctly, it rammed them. Because that was something that the Merrimack was really good at. It could ram. So, I mean, if you're playing like a wooden ship like the frigate I just showed, and this big steam-powered ironclad ram ship comes running at you, all of a sudden it's like, oops.
Oops.
Oops. Oopsie daisy. Didn't know that was your boob, baby. Hit it 5 times in the coupe, Mercedes.
So, to be fair, Oda was pretty innovative using that iron reinforcement on the ship.
Yeah, but I mean, remember we were talking about Master and Commander?
Yeah.
And the super powerful French ship they kept talking about was actually the USS Constitution. Because the French never had a ship like that.
Yeah.
But when they made the movie, because of the special relationship between England and the United States, they didn't want it to be about a British captain trying to chase down an American ship. Plus, when would that ever have happened anyway? You know what I mean? So
Well,
they
I
decided
mean,
to make the ship French.
it depends on how
But
you want to talk about chasing down ship.
right, they decided to make the ship French, but in the movie they give a little bit of narrative that says the ship was built in America
Yeah.
because one of the guys on the English ship had worked at the shipyard in America and had seen that type of ship being built.
Oh boy.
But no, it was the Constitution.
Yeah.
I don't know what Rob's
I don't
asking.
either.
I know him in real life, so it's like, what are you asking? And what game we're playing? Are you asking what game we're playing?
No, he was
We
asking
were
me.
playing One Ring, but tonight we're probably going to play Splendor.
He was
Or
asking me
maybe
while you were
Vampire
gone.
the Eternal Struggle.
He was asking me. That was while he was gone, but you know the.
Oh well, you're
chat was
playing either 5e or RuneQuest.
5e. It's my 5e
Yeah, no
game where I
one's
play
trying
the
to
cleric.
ignore you. Don't get frustrated or anything. It's just sometimes it's hard to keep up with.
I already talked about it. I thought.
Yeah. What's up, George? Yeah, sometimes it's just hard to keep up with different questions.
Yeah, especially whenever the chat messes up. It's nothing you can do about
Especially
that.
when it's you and I on here and we change
Topics like
freaking
crazy.
what we're talking about like every 2 minutes. You know what I mean? It's like
We'll go from gaming to uh, history
Japanese
to
warships to freaking history to yeah, it's like and somebody's like asks the question, it's like, I'm about which thing? You
about
know,
which
because
thing.
we've already talked about Korea, Japanese ships, ironclads,
Multiple
samurai
different dating
warriors,
sim games or some other shit.
Talislanta,
Talislanta.
D&D, RuneQuest, monsters in RuneQuest, and Talislanta.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Plus, if you were here earlier, you got to hear my aunt go off in the background. Because apparently somebody's calling and asking her to stop sleeping with their husband, except my aunt has no idea who in the hell it is. She's obviously not sleeping with anybody's husband. And she's like, stop calling me. I don't know who you are. I've never heard of this guy, you know. And of course, the other lady doesn't believe her because, you know, that's part of the whole deal, right?
Yeah, we're really weird, crazy people sometimes on the phone.
Yeah, there's some weird shit going on. That's all. So, yeah, it could have been any of that. It could have been any of that. It could have been about my frigate. It could have been about this sloop that I need to put the front ropes on so I can put the front sails on. It literally could have been about anything. Anything. It could have been about. Plus, I'm also painting miniatures for Talislanta and historic miniatures as well. Yeah, right? And don't even know whose house is getting wrecked. So that's not even cool. You know, I mean, if you're going to be a home wrecker, you'd like to think that you knew whose home you were wrecking. But apparently, no. Don't even get to know that. That seems unfair. But, you know, that's the way life is, I guess. Life is cruel, treat you unfair. But still, a God there must be, because many me, you complete me. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. That's right. Uh-huh. Yes, I'm a huge fan of Dr. Evil. Mike Myers' best character, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was. I liked that movie.
I mean, his worst character was the Love Guru.
Yeah.
That was just terrible. That
Yeah.
was just terrible. It was just like,
No, I
why
get
did
how
you
that was
do
terrible.
this? You know, it's like, why did you do this? You didn't
Why
have
did
to.
you do this?
You didn't need the money.
You didn't need this.
Uh,
Nobody needed
You
this. This
just
is
put
terrible.
out like 4 or 5 #1 movies that everyone loved. There was no need for this, right? I mean, you put out all the Austin Power movies, everyone loved them. You put out the Shrek movies, everyone loved them. Like literally, you could have just been like, "Yeah, I'm going to sit on my laurels," and you put out Wayne's World, people love that, but nope, you made Love Guru, and everyone universally hated it,
Yeah.
and was like, "You are a washed up piece of shit," and then you just stop putting movies out because it's like,
He finally realized, maybe I don't need to be doing this anymore.
yeah, like
It's like the Love Guru. That was a career wrecker.
that was a career wrecker for the poor guy. It was like he put that movie out, and then next thing you know, he's just gone.
That's
He
like the
just
Master
vanished.
of Disguise for.
Oh my god, turtle! That movie is so bad.
It's so
It's
bad.
like
I love it.
what were you even thinking?
They were thinking they were going to make a funny movie, and it was, but not for the reasons they wanted it to be.
Yeah, it was a comedy, just not for the reasons they thought it would be, right?
Yes.
But so a cleric of Heronius,
Yep.
who's tired of hanging out around town and would like to hit the road for high adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the rest of the group is all like, no, we need to hang out here and, jack around with stuff for some reason.
Yeah. After one of our other clerics got their religious symbol stolen.
Yeah, well, go buy a new one. Shit.
They got it back.
Well, that's good too, but they could have just went and bought a new one.
Yeah, I know, but the
Go
thing
to the
is,
church, make a donation, get your new religious symbol, move on.
DM actually used it for a little plot point and had fun with it.
Well, did you like run the thieves down and like put a beating on them for their act of temerity? I mean, how dare you?
Oh wait, no, it was a paladin, and also, no, that was what the god of that paladin did.
Be like, how dare you steal
How dare you
my holy
steal?
symbol?
Yes.
Now I have to kill you all. And they'll be like, wait, what? Yeah.
Wait, what?
Like, but I thought you were a paladin. Well, I'm not the kind of paladin you thought I was. I'm an orthodox paladin. We don't take any shit. Fuck
He
with
cut
us.
hands off the thieves.
Yeah, right. Like, you don't want to F with us because we don't believe in turning the other cheek. You're
Actually, the
getting
whole
ready to
turning the other cheek wasn't even, being kind. It was more like an insult to the person.
Yeah, it was supposed to be. But anyway, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I remember when some halflings stole my wife's character's coin purse once, and she decided to go on a genocidal rampage against all halflings. And like the other characters had to basically talk her down and convince her not to.
My character
genocide
wants
all halflings.
My character wants to go on a crusade against the elves.
Well, that's just good, clean fun.
Yes.
But genociding all the halflings, that seems a bit much.
You don't even like halflings. You don't like them, don't you? I thought you didn't like them in your world. Because
I don't like them, but in this particular game, we were playing in Greyhawk. And when I play in a setting, I play in that setting. And halflings are a thing that do exist in Greyhawk.
Mainly because of Tolkien, because,
Right.
halflings
Now, when I play in my homebrew setting, there are no halflings.
It's like in the original Ultima where you could play a hobbit.
Right. So in my homebrew setting, druids are always evil. In Greyhawk, they're neutral. So in Greyhawk, if somebody wants to play a druid, they're allowed to. But in my homebrew setting, No, you will not be playing a druid
One thing I need to do though is
because druids are
actually probably get the original Wizardry trilogy.
the video game.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
those were cool video games just because how they worked. Wizardry 1, 2, and 3, you could play them in succession with the same party, and
Yeah.
they age, and they could die in any one of them.
Yeah.
Which makes it very tough because again, that means that you have a time limit on the original trilogy to beat
The
it.
SSI games, if you played and you beat Pull of Radiance, then you could play Secret of the Silver Blades or whatever with the same group. And I don't know if it lets you play the other ones like Pull of Darkness with the same group. It might have.
Might have.
But they did that too. They did that.
Your characters age too, and could possibly die of old age?
No, I don't think they did that.
That's
I
in
think,
Wizardry 1, 2, and 3.
right.
Your characters can age and die of old age in those games.
Well,
So
they should be able to. I mean, you know.
It is really cool, though, in a game that old, that they put that much thought into it and made it possible. Putting the original trilogy in that kind of time limit of how long you need to beat it, or your party will just die.
Yeah.
You don't see that much in old games like that.
Well, here's the thing, though. The old school games were just better. It's like the new school games might have got better
Graphics,
controls or better graphics or whatever,
yeah.
but they don't have better gameplay.
No.
And that's like an issue. It's like MMOs, they after the big glut of MMOs, like in the 2000s, the early 2000s, every MMO that's come out pretty much has sucked. And most of them have even ceased to exist.
Yeah, they mostly have.
You know, it's like
there's a lot of MMOs you can't play anymore.
Like WoW. The only version of WoW anyone's excited to play is like on private servers playing vanilla WoW.
Yeah.
And people do that with EQ too. They play on private servers playing like
I tried that with Arcade.
Whatever EQ.
But the Arcade, like the new Arcade server, that private one, they screwed it up horribly.
Right. Well, they screwed Arcade up horribly, so you know.
Yeah, but the thing is, this was supposed to be like Arcade Classic with some of the new stuff, but mostly it's trying to play on the classic style of Arcade, which they did okay at, but then they screwed over everything else. Like whenever the land grab came up, oh, what do we do about this? You know what? Let's just try to bring it out. Oh, there was a mistake. All the North American players get screwed over on land grab. Too bad.
Where was the game based out of?
Europe.
Yeah.
And so whenever like timers came in, for American players, the timer wasn't actually accurate to when land grab came up. So whenever land grab came up, other people could place, but we couldn't.
Right.
Unless we changed our clocks to their time zone. And you'd have to know about that. If you didn't, well,
that was the worst part of Arcade. Especially when I started playing and I finally got a house and I was like super stoked. And I decorated it all out exactly the way I want it. And I made icons and hung in it. And like, it was really cool. And then for whatever reason, they decided to do like a server merge or some shit.
And you lost all that.
And I lost everything. And then it was like, okay, you know, I got another house near to where the other house had been. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And then like, you know, a couple months later, there was another freaking server merge. And it's like, what? You know, And
because
that was basically about the end of it for me.
it was
like,
pretty much because they were hemorrhaging people like left and right at that point.
right.
Oh
And
my
when it got to
God,
where I was just like, server merge after server merge, I was like, yeah, I'm done.
I was
That's
done
enough.
whenever I was practically done whenever they changed the trade system on there because they went from pretty good to atrociously bad.
Yeah, they did. Vanilla WoW. I just never could get into WoW, George. I
Yeah, I
tried.
didn't
I
like it
never
either.
got above level 19.
You got
And
further than I
at
did,
which
actually.
point I would just like start throwing up and being all like, yeah, I can't play this game. It's shitty. Now there is a private game, a private server for Warhammer Online. And the last time I played on it, it was freaking awesome.
I heard
Like
there was a
everything wrong with Warhammer Online during the actual release, they had fixed, and they had balanced all the characters out, so it wasn't like you were constantly getting face planted by the order players. And
I heard
you
there
know,
was a private server of Star Wars Galaxies that was pretty good.
yeah, I heard that too.
I wonder if it's pre Jedi patch because that's where I heard that it went really bad.
Well, the original Star Wars Galaxy was weird because it was like if okay, one of the ways you could get like your resolve back or whatever was to listen to a musician or watch a dancer.
Yeah, and there were classes where you dance or
And
play
you
music.
could choose to play a character that just specialized in dancing.
Yes.
So, you'd be running through like a town and there'd just be people in their underwear dancing on tables and shit.
Yep.
And then, people would throw them some money or whatever because they would get, basically healed by that. Not healed, but, because if you
Got
want to get
heals.
healed, you had to get med packs
Yep. Or go to a doctor.
or go
That
to
was
a
also
doctor.
a profession also.
Right.
But I heard it went really bad whenever they brought out the Jedi because first they wanted the Jedi to be kind of rare and cool.
Right.
But if they did that, it was so hard for anybody to figure out what they're supposed to do. And the higher ups were like, "There's no Jedi's. Where's the Jedi's? We told you to bring out Jedi's." And I'm like, "Well, people have to learn." And it's like, "Well, they're not doing it." And it's like, okay, then they made it easier and easier until everybody's a Jedi, and then it was just like it got boring.
Well, when the first Jedi appeared on the servers, the downside of being a Jedi is if you died, it was permanent.
Yeah.
So if you had a character you devoted a lot of time to, and you might think about being a Jedi, you would think hard. You know what I mean? Like, I've been playing this character for like a year. Do I really want to take a chance of becoming a Jedi? Which they were super powerful. I mean, they were super powerful. But permadeath is also a thing, right?
Which is a good way to kind of balance it, I guess. But
yeah, but then they kind of tucked that away, and because it was just like,
again, the higher ups wanted more people to be Jedi, and that was the problem. The developers were not wanting that. They didn't want everybody to just be, everybody's going to be Jedi now. They're supposed to be rare in this story, but now they need to be everywhere.
They did it right in Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic Online, or SWTOR, I guess as they called it.
Yeah,
because they had Jedi, obviously, because it was the Old Republic, but the Jedi were not the end-all, be-all. Like, I played a bounty hunter, and I would wreck Jedi. In a one-on-one, my bounty hunter would just freaking wreck them. It didn't even matter, And a lot of people bitched because they're like, why are Jedi so weak? And they're like, they're not weak. It's just they're, made to do certain things. And if you try to do things that your class isn't really designed to do, don't, get all ass sore about it. Like, don't try to get into a ranged firefight with a bounty hunter because I'll eat you alive. You know what I mean? By the time you get near me, you're dead because I've already shot you with like 5 rockets and
I had my favorite class on
my
that
dual
though.
blasters. You know,
My favorite was the Shadow.
the Shadow. Was that the Imperial Commando guy?
Now the Jedi Shadow it is the consular with the dual-bladed lightsaber that went invisible.
Oh yeah. Because my wife played a Sith. What is it? The healer.
Oh, the opposite of the consular. It was the
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Sith sorcerer or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, the sorcerer. That was it. Sith sorcerer.
Yeah, her and I, man, we used to wreck Hutball.
I used to solo hot ball.
Yeah, because she had the ability to like pull
Yeah.
friendly characters, and I had the ability to push enemy characters because that was when I was playing my Juggernaut. And so, like,
Oh wait, no.
she
Hotball,
would
no.
run ahead of me.
Well, kind of talking about hotball, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, she would run ahead of me. Then I would get the ball, and then she would pull me into the end zone.
Yeah, that was a pretty common tactic.
And shit like that. And it was like my favorite thing was to like use force push to push somebody into the acid pit.
Oh, my one point, my character was almost nigh unkillable in PvP.
Did you play Empire or
I was mostly a Republic, but I did play Empire sometimes.
right?
But my Shadow, I had like this was whenever they did the like they went from 55 I think to 60, and you could
Right.
how you could have like PvP gear. I
My
had like the old
shadow.
I had the old
My
PvP gear from
shadow.
the last season, and I was going into like the PvP with like PvP gear, and I think I was basically the only one with it at that time.
Right.
And so everybody was like hitting me, but doing like nothing.
Right. Because you're basically wearing all purple gear. And everybody's like,
Why is his numbers not going down?
yeah, it's like they hit you for like 5 damage with a blaster. And you're
And
like,
while that's
all right.
happening, there was like a healer healing me, and I'm like, I don't even need it, but okay.
One time I spec'd my bounty hunter to be a healer.
Yeah, you can do that too.
And then that was bad because people would go to attack me and I'd just out heal them. And they'd just be like, they're sitting there just beating on me and I'm just going heal.
One of my favorite characters though was the sniper too. I love the sniper.
I never played the Old Republic MMO, but yeah, it was basically the biggest problem with SWTOR, as it were, is that it was basically so similar to KOTOR in that once you finish the single player mission, which you didn't have to always do single player, you could have friends help you.
Yeah, you can play group.
If you didn't PvP, there was nothing for you to do.
Yeah,
So a lot of people actually said that it was billed as an MMO, but honestly, it was
more of a single player game.
Single player game. And that's not really 100% wrong,
It wasn't even all that bad either. I like the stories they made with it.
Well, if they had released the
Originals.
game as just another Bethesda, whatever, single player game, nobody would have bitched.
No.
Everybody would have been happy,
Yeah.
They've been like, cool. And then you could have played through each class's storyline and been like, awesome. That was a good game. Whatever.
Changed the grinding out a little bit because let's just face it, that was probably the most annoying part.
Right. But you get what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah. Although I kind of had my character like super under leveled for most of the story. I somehow got to the final boss of the consular story at level 54 or less, I think actually.
I had the one where
Oh, I was like
when you're
49,
dark
actually, I
side,
think,
you
or
pick
something like
up the
that.
female Jedi.
Hey, Shark.
But in that one, I had my wife help me out. So
I did everything solo, and I was like 5 to 6 levels below the main boss.
What's up, Lef?
Hey, Hungar.
You see how happy he sounds to say hi to me?
yeah.
He's like, hey, Hunger.
No, he said, "Hey, Hunger." I mean, shit. What do you want?
I want bells and whistles.
Yeah, well, maybe
Bells
if you
and
hadn't
whistles, huh?
stopped, streaming and stopped being on streams and basically removed yourself from like everything, maybe you get bells and whistles. But as it is, you did all the opposite of that. So now, the internet has a short memory.
They remember and love me still.
No, that's not
I
how the
have an
internet
even
works.
shorter memory. It's almost like I have
It's
the memory of a
it's like
goldfish.
if you're not on for a couple weeks, it's like they forget that you even existed.
All right.
How's it going?
Shark,
How's it
do
going,
you remember
Hungar?
who I am?
Nope.
No.
See, they don't. They're like, who? Who is
Who?
this? Who is this fucking guy?
There's a Santa Claus looking crazy guy.
The good-looking brother with a better beard?
Yeah, they're like, no, we don't know who you are because if they don't see you every day, they don't know who you are. My shadow. My shadow.
Hey, while I'm here, I want a copy of my character sheet. So it's easier for me when we play.
Yeah, that's fine.
Mm-mm-mm.
These were supposed to be steel discs, but apparently they're stainless steel because the magnets won't stick to them. Fucking
Well, how do they work? Nobody knows.
yes, people know.
I don't want to hear no scientists tell me some bullshit.
Shut up. Hey, Shark, how you doing?
He's
But
a
yeah, SWOTOR would have been an amazing single-player game, but they tried to make it an MMO, and when it started, there was like millions of
Nothing.
players. There was
No.
over 100 players in my guild. I started a guild called Rage, and there were 100 players in that guild, and then like a month later, there were like 12 of us, and the server had just dropped dead.
I played that game, and I've never played.
Out of sight, out of mind, right, James?
Yeah, it was just like everybody vanished. So, and then they started merging servers. Plus, the game was missing some stuff that it was
Needed.
like,
Yeah.
you can't be a AAA game and not have these things as an MMO.
There were some
It's
fun
like,
moments, though.
it's like, look at WoW. WoW somehow managed to be popular despite the fact that it's missing half of the shit that was in EQ 10 years before WoW even came out.
Yeah.
And the
WoW
reason
was
is
crap.
because people with shitty computers can play WoW. So they
True.
convince themselves that WoW is good because it's all they can play. They can't play like any of the actual good games. But then
Trust me,
a
it was
lot of
hard
games
with a
started doing
laptop
that.
to play an MMO.
Like in Dark Age of Camelot, they had realm versus realm combat. You could occupy castles. You could hang your flag off the castles.
I mean, James, did
You
you
could
know how
have-
hard it was to play an MMO on a Toshiba laptop or an HP
right,
regular
right,
laptop?
HP
It just-
Pavilion.
But
God.
WoW can do it.
But WoW, you could, right. But like I was saying, you could take over castles. You could
I played Arcade on a.
design your own cloaks, and then everyone in your guild, when they put a cloak on, it would have your symbol on the back
That's cool.
and colors, and you could do them quartered or halved, or
Yeah,
like
I had
all
to-
the heraldry. You could have your own house. You could decorate the house with like trophy monsters. Like if you killed some of the big named monsters, every now and then they drop like their head or something, and you could take it and hang it up in your house.
Like Conan Exiles.
Yeah. And you could have a merchant at your house. So if you had a bunch of really expensive stuff you wanted to sell, you could just put it on the merchant and write down how much you wanted for each bit.
Well,
And
that's
then
cool.
if another player ran by your house, they could run up to your merchant and see what he had to sell and buy it. And then you could just go back later and empty out the cash box. I mean, this was all common shit. If you wanted to go from like Tir Nanog all the way down to like the bogs, you could just get on a horse and pay 4 silver and ride down. You know, it was like, and it was like,
It was fun.
how do you make a game after this game that's worse than this game, like in every conceivable way? And but they managed.
Well, you know, that's how that is. But man, I do remember playing Arcade on that crappy HP laptop.
Oh, Arcade. Arcade, I had such hopes for Arcade because I thought
Yeah.
it was going to be the new Dark Age.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
It was okay for, you know, at first, but it
The
was.
first year or so I played it, it was really cool. My
Yeah.
wife and I were having the time of our lives. My mom played. We were running around and doing quests and doing shit and getting into fights and whatever. I was basically griefing people because I played a
Like, man,
whichever
my
one the fighter was that could stealth.
Dark Runner.
I is dark something, but basically you're a
Probably a
fighter
Dark
with a
Runner.
shield and plate mail, but you can stealth.
Oh, well, no, there's a different one then. Dark Runners usually go two-handed stealth and just like come up and just try to assassinate everybody.
Early this morning, you enjoyed a large glass of yummy eggnog. Well, did it have any whiskey in it? I mean, did it have some rum or whatever you put in eggnog? Because if not, then you were just wasting your time, sir.
Apparently, I'm wasting my time waiting for that gun to come in.
If not, then why not?
Yeah, like Hungar said, if not, why not?
Well, I mean, it's in the morning where you usually don't drink in the morning. Really shouldn't be. You might have a problem if you drink this that early in the morning.
I'm the first man drinking in the sunrise, last man standing in a bar fight. We gonna see who makes it home tonight. You coming at me with a knife? I got a gun. Bang, 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 bang. Now you
Rum.
fighting for your life. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, rum. I think was the most common thing for eggnog back in the day.
And oh, Ron, you got some Jameson and some Bombay Sapphire up in here.
I got me some rum.
I don't think gin would be good in eggnog.
No, but it would be good with a little tonic water and a slice of lime.
But
I got some
Irish
really
whiskey
nice
might
rum.
be okay.
Bombay Sapphire, that was my drink for a long time.
Yeah, the Irish whiskey might be okay though.
Irish whiskey does sound nice.
Yeah, I've got a big bottle of Jameson's. I've got all the alcohol, but since I stopped drinking, it's kind of like.
Yeah, I got a really nice bottle of single barrel Woodford Reserve bourbon, and it's mostly full.
I got my spiced rum ready for this January.
Such a basic bitch. Spiced
Basic.
rum.
It's good rum.
That's like what college girls drink.
He's
What's
probably
wrong
got
with spiced rum?
his Malibu coconut rum.
Oh, I like Malibu coconut rum.
Yeah, but that is a basic bitch rum.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're getting on to me for my rum choices. You get that now, huh?
But Malibu and pineapple is absolutely delicious.
It is very delicious.
I like my Blackheart spiced rum, so there.
Well, the only drink I've ever had with spiced rum in it that I liked was called a Dark and Stormy.
Spiced rum and mellow yellow tastes like cream soda.
No, this was spiced rum and ginger beer.
That would have to be good. But spiced rum and mellow yellow tastes like cream soda.
So it was like really good.
Now you're making
Spiced
me.
rum and mellow yellow tastes like cream soda.
Yeah.
I need to try that then because I want to see if that's true because I like cream soda.
College.
Well, I like cream soda. That's a fact. So
This is true. I will have my new cream soda, and it's alcoholic.
mm, But yeah, I think if you're drinking eggnog without alcohol in it, it's like, what are you doing?
I don't even drink eggnog with alcohol.
It's like, what? Why are you doing this to yourself?
I've never had eggnog.
Uh, it's basically
Too thick.
something that you would drink because you want a shit ton of calories because it's cold as hell wherever you are.
Yeah, I don't
That's
need
kind
that.
of the whole thing, you know.
Yeah, I
It
don't need that.
like it's got cream in it and vanilla bean or whatever and like
Everything
egg.
has a lot of like too much calories in it in the first place. I don't need more.
Yeah, it's got like eggs.
I mean, my brother's trying to make pizza with like a very low calorie pizza now, but I don't think that's going to work out well. I mean,
Uh,
he's making pretty good pizza, I guess, but
if he uses like those low keto wraps for the pizza crust, he could probably do pretty good.
yeah, he's having trouble with that crust. Actually, that's the hardest part, it seems.
Yeah,
And
yeah, the
the
crust is
sauce,
always going to be.
and the sauce is pretty hard too. He's
Well,
trying
I
to.
mean, you can get sugar-free spaghetti sauce, but
Yeah, I know, but he's trying to make his own sauce that's not so sweet, but not also really bitter.
I don't know if I would bother with sugar-free spaghetti sauce. I think I'd just be like, got to bite the bullet, you
Now,
know.
I have found something else that's really good, especially if you want ribs without having to have a lot of like high calorie barbecue sauce.
What's that?
This thing called Yo Mama's. It's a keto. It's like a keto barbecue sauce that tastes really good and it uses very simple ingredients.
Well, I would think Carolina barbecue would be pretty keto. I mean, it's mustard and vinegar.
Hmm. Yeah, mostly that's a lot of sauces are just basically vinegar.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
It's using a lot of
it,
stuff at least.
it it's Texas and Missouri started adding like all the sugar and honey and everything to the sauces,
Yeah.
but like Carolina style barbecue sauce is like mostly vinegar and just a bunch of dry spices,
Eh, fair.
and they rub it on, and that's where you get your
I,
Carolina
s-
barbecue rub.
I especially like the Yo Mama's like hickory
Oh yeah,
barbecue sauce. It gives it a decent flavor. Just really good flavor. Almost as good as I say Sweet Baby Ray's.
yeah. In Kentucky, they've got a special barbecue, uh, the Lexington style barbecue. But really, the only thing that's different about it is they make red coleslaw.
Red coleslaw.
Yeah. So
Okay.
instead of putting mayonnaise in the coleslaw, they put ketchup.
I don't know how I'd feel about that.
I know how I feel about it. It's terrible.
Yeah, it sounds terrible.
It's like, geez, this is the
Why
worst.
ketchup?
Because I don't know, someone thought it was good. I mean, we're talking about the same state that invented bagoo, which is basically, hey, everybody, bring all the roadkill and everything you've got in the last month and let's boil it all together and then eat it. That's pretty much what bagoo is.
I'm 32, almost 33 now. And yeah, no, I have not had any eggnog.
Yeah, that's not uncommon, bro. That
Yeah,
is
I know.
not uncommon.
He's acting like it's crazy. I'm just like, we never had it.
Well, I mean, Shark's been around the world. You know, he's been all over the place doing all kinds of things with the core and stuff. So,
I mean, for the
you
most
know,
part, I hate chili. And that's it. People think that's weird about me.
chili or chili powder.
I don't know exactly. Every time my dad's made chili, I usually hate it. Although the last time I've had chili, it wasn't bad. It was a little tasteless, though.
Well, I don't know who's making your chili
My dad, he's been making the chili. I don't make
because
chili.
my wife makes amazing chili.
last type of chili he made, it was more like a weird bean soup, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Well,
it was
if the
okay. I just
chili
don't care
is
for
like a soup, you did it wrong. It's supposed to be thick as hell.
it. Yeah.
Like, you should be able to eat chili with a fork. I need a good way to eat sauerkraut. Well, you drain it, you wash it, you stick it in a frying pan with a little butter, and you fry it until it starts getting some color. And then you throw sausage in with it, whether kielbasa or whatever you like. It can be brats. And if you want to get crazy, just a little bit of beer. You cook the beer off, and by the time all the beer is cooked off and everything, it's ready to eat. Well, I mean, I'm saying if you throw brats in with your sauerkraut too.
Man, now I really want some good ribs. It's been a while since I had some ribs.
Hungar told me they stopped at a country restaurant on the way down, and they were selling like deep fried ribs.
Okay, interesting.
I never even heard of that shit, but I bet it's
Now you
good.
can deep fry everything, apparently.
Well, I mean, my grandma did pretty much fry everything that existed.
Ice cream?
I mean, if it could, well, we never had any ice cream. What are you talking about?
Hey, Duck Flamingo's in here.
Yeah, he is. I mean, it's like ice cream. Shut up. We didn't know what ice cream was until we were like 11 or 12.
Hey, what's going
How you
on,
doing,
gentlemen?
Doc?
Hey, Doc, what do you like frying up a lot?
I like my favorite is food that other people cook.
Well, no, we're talking about Hungar on his way down from Kentucky stopped at a country style restaurant in Georgia, and they had deep fried ribs.
Ooh, that's a good
They
thing.
weren't barbecued, I guess. They were just deep fried.
The most horrifying fried thing I've ever encountered was fried Coke. Have you ever done that? It's at certain weird little festivals in parts of like the Southwest. They basically take a big glob of cola syrup, deep fry it, flash fry it, put it in a Dixie cup, pour like an inch of sugar on top of it, and then pour like sugar, like maple syrup on top of it. It's like instant diabetes.
You know, you are describing that, and I literally can hear RFK crying.
Well, Doc, if you ever
it is
make your way into
nauseating.
Kentucky, we'll fry you up some squirrel if you want.
Squirrel's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to go get squirrel all the time. Squirrel's good. Rabbit's good.
Never eaten squirrel. Eaten a
My
rabbit.
dad hates,
had to kill a rabbit, in fact,
my
for
dad hates
a
wild
survival
rabbit.
school.
He hates eating wild rabbit. He says it's too gamey or something like that.
If you've ate squirrel, you can eat rabbit. If you've ate rabbit, you can eat squirrel. There's
He
not
prefers
much.
he prefers tame. Apparently, he just really hates wild rabbit.
Hey, that's fine. Some people are that way. Okay.
It could possibly have something to do with the diet. I'm guessing.
I'm sure it does. Wild rabbits eat grass and whatever they can find, and tame rabbits eat rabbit food.
Apparently, you can make yourself very sick if you're only eating rabbit. You
Yeah,
get
yeah,
like
what it
protein
is, they don't have
poisoning
much
because there's no
fat
fat
in
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
So
need something else.
you can starve to death.
Yeah, you can basically starve to death eating rabbit.
Cool. But that's why the most popular southern way of eating rabbits is you fry it like you would chicken.
Yep.
And then, the fact that it's breaded and fried in lard, I mean, that gives you all the fat you're ever going to need, right?
Yep.
You know what
So,
really freaks
you're
me out? Some
fine.
people do down here. People will eat armadillo.
I would never eat an armadillo on a
Even
love that.
handling. We get a certain small number of people in this state every year who get freaking leprosy just from handling armadillos.
Yeah, they
You know
carry
what?
leprosy.
Actually, James, there's a pheasant outside.
There's a
If we ever
pheasant.
get really hungry, we could eat that pheasant.
I went with big diabetes or heavy breathing in the boys.
Actually, James, have you ever seen a pheasant in Kentucky before?
I have not.
I haven't either until recently.
Where did you see a pheasant in Kentucky?
County down there by now.
by Pine Knot. Yeah, because I ain't never seen a pheasant anywhere near Tape 4.
They got elk out in before it got food.
Do they?
Yeah, I didn't expect there to be a pheasant near our house now, but there is now. We got a pet pheasant. It comes in and eats the cat food.
Well, a lot of people, a lot of
I'm
people.
surprised the cat's
seem
not
to
upset
think
about that.
Pheasants are really good.
Well, we have that here with the chickens and the turkeys will eat cat food if we
Yeah,
leave it
here's the
out.
thing, James. I'm surprised the cat's not upset about that. Usually that cat's very upset whenever a new animal comes by. If there was another cat out there, she would run away and never come back.
The whole thing with the turkeys down here, Doc, is during the breeding season, they will congregate in your freaking yard. There'll be 30 of them.
I hate
Yeah.
turkeys. I hate
Where-
turkeys. We have a bunch of
my
turkeys
mom
here.
used to live, they would come up and eat the cat food, and there would just be like a herd of them.
Yeah, one of
Or
our neighbors
flock,
has like
a
these
flock
little
of 'em.
mini like turkey things. I don't know what they're called. I can't remember what they're called, but they're like little
Road
turkeys.
runners?
No, not road runners. I forgot what they were called though. They're like
Well,
small
down
turkeys.
here we have big ass turkeys.
Yeah, I made a mistake. One of the turkeys went after me when I was out in the yard, and I kicked it. And Lori's like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that." Because now every time I go out there, it's like, "Time to do battle."
Time to do battle.
It's like, oh,
Yeah,
just
I've
fuck
heard
off.
people call armadillo possum on the half shell. I'm not
Ugh.
eating one of those things.
I would never
I
eat
wouldn't
a
eat
possum
possum.
either. They're gross.
No, I wouldn't eat a possum either. But you used to, a long, long time ago, you could buy canned possum in gravy.
Ew.
Ooh.
Yeah,
People
prairie
eat some
dogs
weird
out
shit.
here have the plague. Some of it looked fun, and I guess grouse.
Grouse.
The thing that you're talking about could be a grouse.
Maybe it was a grouse. I cannot remember for the life of me what
Well,
they were
look
called.
up what a grouse looks like, and if it looks like what you're remembering, you'll know.
Grouse do have that crazy long tail feather as well. So that might
But
be what
I've
we're looking
seen people like online that go out and do the whole.
No, it wasn't a grouse.
They take like a scope 270 out and just shoot freaking prairie dogs all day.
at. That seems excessive. They're just going to like explode.
Pretty much, yeah,
Poof.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're such menaces, they cause cattle to break legs and all kinds
Oh
of shit
yeah,
like
I like
that.
that. Yeah, with those damn holes.
I mean-
yeah.
I mean, my grandma had to kill a few groundhogs with the 22.
We used to eat groundhogs when we killed them.
Everyone should kill groundhogs so you don't get stuck in a time loop.
Yeah.
True. And like I think I've said before, but I'll repeat.
Paradox rats.
Freaking what's his name? That groundhog ate him up. The scene where he's driving the truck with the groundhog sitting in his lap. Bill Murray, it bit the shit out of him. He had to get stitches. But what would happen is groundhogs will get into your garden sometimes. So you just wait out in like the barn. And
Well,
in the
James,
early
I'm gonna have
morning,
to get
the
off it.
groundhog waddles
See
his
you,
fat
Doc.
little ass out,
Let-
but
later
22
left.
round into him, and then you eat it. Oh, left had to go.
Must adjust myself for the camera.
Right. And pretty much they just taste like greasy meat. Just it's like meat, but it's greasy.
Yeah.
Only grouse I consume is Famous Grouse whiskey. I really haven't been bird hunting. That's never been something I've been super interested in. When we were real young, we went quail hunting, but it
And
was
quail?
like, quail, meh.
You'd think he'd have Secret Service protection.
Dah. You ever seen a quail? They're
I
this
can't
big.
think of it. I can't think any time I have seen quail.
Yeah, they're like yay big.
Yeah, they're
They
tiny.
live in brush.
I've seen the eggs, the little bastard eggs, but
So you go out with like a shotgun with bird shot, you shoot these quail, then you got to skin them, and then you got to pick the bird shot out of them. And at that point, then you can cook and eat them. It's like
seems
when
like a
we
lot of
lived out
effort
on the
for
ranch,
very little
we
meat.
quail hunted, but
Are they like super good or something? I mean, it seems like a lot of effort for very little return.
I think most people who go quail hunting do it for like the fun of it. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, it takes a lot of them to make a bill.
yeah, because one quail is pretty much small as your fist or even smaller. So, I mean, if you've got like a family, you're going to have to kill like 12 of them little
Yeah.
bastards, right? So, a lot of people just do it because it's fun. You can go out in the woods and wander around and shoot some quail, right? Whereas in Kentucky, squirrels get big. So you don't got to kill. You still got to kill a bunch of them, but not like down here. I wouldn't eat a Florida squirrel.
I know in England there's a big thing to stop fox hunting,
Well, that's
which,
because the world's full of idiots.
well, I don't. That does seem excessive and mean, especially since you're not actually hunting the fox. You're just setting a bunch of horse dogs on it and just kind of following around on a horse like an asshole.
Yeah, I guess I see the point.
And it's
of
not
that.
like it's. I also, I mean, think if it's something you're going to eat, I'm fine with. If you're just shooting something to shoot it, then that kind of is like, I don't know about that.
I think I got a different outlook on it because I've killed them before.
What, foxes?
Yeah,
Well, foxes can be menaces. Offing them for that reason is also acceptable.
I mean, if they get into your hen house or something,
Yeah, if they're like fucking with your
you gotta,
livestock, that's a whole nother matter.
you got to deal with it. They're not as bad as weasels though, because once a weasel knows where your chickens are, they will go back over and over and over again, and they will never stop. They're like the freaking Terminator.
It's what he
And
does. It's
they
all he
have no
does.
mercy. They will not stop. They cannot be reasoned with. And they'll go in and kill 7 chickens and eat 1. That's just how weasels do. They'll literally wipe out a chicken house just because they want to. And then when you go into the chicken house to get them, they don't run. Like a fox will try and get away, and you got to trap the way he come in so that you can get him. Weasels don't run. They come at your ass. They choose violence right off the bat. And they'll run up on you and then jump straight up in the air.
Ooh.
And, oh, yeah, man. They're
the killer rabbit.
but pretty much imagine a ferret, like a pet ferret, but 3 times as big and 100 times angrier. That's what a weasel is. It's just the meanest thing. I actually absolutely love them because I like all of them still day. I think they're all amazing animals. But if they figure out a way to get into the hen house, if you don't kill them, they will kill every chicken.
Aren't wolverines like in the same family as
They are.
weasels?
Yep, they are. A wolverine is basically just a jacked up weasel that can get around 50 to 70 pounds, depending. Dog next door killed 2 chickens and 1 cockerel. Yeah, we used to have a thing that if you owned a dog and it killed a chicken, you just shot the dog. You know, that was kind of a thing when we lived on a farm. If a dog got into the habit of eating chickens, you just had to kill it, because once dogs get into the habit of knowing they can kill and eat a chicken, they will keep killing and eating chickens.
Same with chickens who eat their own eggs.
Yeah, sometimes you'll have a hen that'll lay an egg and then eat it. So that hen's got to go because they don't stop.
Yeah, we had a thing with a neighbor here with a dog that was killing cats, and we all had to go over there. It's like, look, dude, you need to like get rid of this animal, because if I see it, I'm just going to kill it on sight at this point.
I saw the worst YouTube video. Some guy had a camera on front of his porch, and his cat was on the stoop of his porch, and 2 black guys are walking down the sidewalk with pit bulls, and they let the pit bulls eat this guy's cat.
I would murder an entire town of people for that.
Yep.
Oh my God, I would lose.
I mean,
my
they
fucking
blurred
mind.
out what happened, but
Yeah.
basically the person, I think it was Salty Cracker, said that the pit bulls literally ripped that cat into bits and ate it. And then the guy comes out and he's like, what the F? And the black guys are like, whatever. And they walk on. And it's like,
I'd have killed them
if
both.
you
I'd have
recognize
killed them
these
both.
guys, you know,
I'd have
turn
killed
it
them
in.
both.
It's like,
Fucking subhuman vermin.
yeah,
Jesus
it's like
Christ.
that cat was sitting next to its food dish on the porch, and they let the dogs go up on the porch and kill and eat the cat. So it's
Oh
just
my-
like, oh yeah, yeah. I'd be walking out with my my Hellcat and be like, yeah, you guys
Oh
are
my
gonna stay
God.
here for a minute until the cops get here, or I'm gonna pop some rounds in somebody's ass because you don't let your big dog eat my pet and then think you're gonna walk away laughing about it. That is just uncivilized behavior. But yeah, I wouldn't suggest looking that video up, but it's on YouTube.
Oh my God.
And it's just like, why in the F would you do that? You know? It's like, and I have an uncle that raises pit bulls, and he'll tell you, depending on their bloodline and how they're raised, they are either the best dog you will ever own or an absolute freaking insane menace
Yeah.
that you cannot let anybody near because and that's just it's just the way they are.
Yeah.
If they come from a good bloodline and they're not super inbred and crazy, then they're like super sweet, wouldn't
Oh yeah,
hurt.
they're some of the nicest dogs you'll ever meet. As long as the thing is,
But the
people
problem
raise
is the
them to be
nice ones are
beasts.
really rare
Yeah.
compared to the crazy ones.
Well, it's the people who tend to buy them.
Well,
It's people
plus
who tend to
there's
raise them.
a lot of the bloodlines, they inbred them so much that they basically created like Habsburg dogs where they're all just kind of mentally out of it. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I mean, there's a reason people are afraid of pit bulls because some pit bulls are assholes.
Yeah, they also do have that thing where they're dumb as rocks for one thing. Pit bulls.
Yeah, a lot of them
They're
are pretty
not.
stupid.
They're not smart, and also they if they get excited, their jaws lock.
Well,
Which is the problem.
they'll lock their jaws just pretty much on anything. We used to, when we went hog hunting, we always took pit bulls with us, and you have to carry a stick that you shave down like a wedge. And when you try to get the pit bull off of the hog, you stick that wedge in the back here, like
Oh,
back there,
huh.
and you pop their jaw open. And then you throw the pig into the trailer.
Oh.
Because for some reason, I don't know why, it's instinct. But if you throw a pit bull out the back of your truck at a 200-pound hog, say, right, it'll run up and grab that hog by the ear, and the hog will lay down and just lay there with that dog hanging off its ear. And then you just pull the truck around and grab it, and somebody's got to pry the dog off, because if you don't pry the dog off, I mean, okay, what just happened?
I think you just froze. I hear you telepathically, though.
Okay, let me. Oh, I know what happened. It popped over to the. Let's see. Let's do this. Boom. Yeah, it's having a hard time with my camera for some reason. So there's that. There's
You
that.
reversed.
There you go. And then there's that. Yeah, I think Restream just every now and then just does that.
How much does it cost to run Restream? Because I'm thinking about getting that since
I'm using the free
running
one.
something soon. Oh, there's a free one? Cool.
Yeah, you just go to Restream and say start Restream, but you only get 20 hours a month.
Oh, that's more than I would need by far.
Yeah. But like, oh yeah, dogs have a sense of humor. My little Pomeranian's a little clown. He loves, I mean, he's just a clown, and I can take him out in the backyard and he'll run in circles. And what's really funny is when he turns to make a turn, he'll freaking lean into it and growl. So he'll be running straight, and then when he goes to do the turn, he'll go, "Rah!" And then he'll go back. And he'll run past me and then do it again on the way back. because he's a baby though. He's just over a year old, so he still gets the zoomies and freaking runs amok. And you've seen him, the white one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's barely a little. I think he's like a year and a half.
Oh, so it's still a puppy, really.
Yeah, still baby. And yeah, you take him outside and he'll just carry on, and he wants to be up everybody's business no matter what. He loves everybody. This dog, we took to a Halloween party. There was 30 people there it had never seen ever in its whole life. It didn't bark one time, and everybody pet it. That's how he is. You know what I mean? He like makes his rounds.
My adoring public.
At him, you know, and everybody, like, before we left, everyone was coming up to me and being like, "Damn, your dog is so good." And I'm like, "Yeah, he's pretty good. Plus, he's bilingual." They're like, "He's bilingual," and I'm like, "Yeah, he speaks Russian and English." And they're like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I yelled at him in Russian. He came immediately over. I was like, "Davai." He come out, which means "come on," and he comes over because the person we bought him from was an elderly Russian woman who had immigrated from Russia. So I tested it out one day. Started yelling at him in Russian, and he understood. And I was like, well, that makes sense because in her own home with the pups, she was probably speaking Russian. Did you just call my dog a bitch?
Speaking of which, I played in Cody's Dragonbane game tomorrow.
Really?
Yes, my Wolf, who I've given this generic Eastern European accent to because it seemed appropriate. I
know Bear was talking about his duck.
Yeah. Oh, that was fun interacting. The duck and the wolf immediately like locked horns. We're going at
kind of makes sense. I mean, you know, a duck and a wolf. That sounds like a joke, you know, a duck and a wolf walk into a bar.
Yeah.
Actually, when I was asking everybody what they wanted to play for Talislanta, that's how I did it. I put on our game thing. I was like, a this, a this, a this, a this, a this, a this, and a this, walk into a bar. And with the numbers, and I was like, which one are you? And everybody's like, number 2, number 4, you know. Hungar chose a blue arid scout, which is like a bird person. Except they can't fly, they can only glide.
Oh.
But if they have because they're devolving.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
They used to be like thousands of years ago when they were more bestial, they could fly, but now they're devolving into a more humanoid creature, and they've lost their ability to fly. But he starts the game with bracers of levitation, which means if he glides, he can glide indefinitely.
Oh,
but
cool.
The problem is he can't fly. So if he's on the ground and he wants to glide, he'll be gliding at ground level because he just runs and jumps and he's like 7 feet above the ground, just, you know. So if he wants to actually fly, he's got to find something very tall to climb, jump off, and then, you know, fly. Now there are characters that you can play that can fly because one of the other guys chose one, a muse, and muses look like basically picture an elf but with gigantic butterfly wings, like, you know, appropriate to the size of an elf, and that's what a muse is. And they never speak; they're telepathic.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
But they can fly for up to 2 minutes per level that they are. So, you know, the higher level they get, the more they can fly. But they can actually fly.
Yeah, I'm working on my game right now. I'm debating whether or not I want to make I have these like pixies in the phase section. I'm debating whether or not I want to make them playable. The only way I would see it would work if you played a swarm of them. Which could be interesting, but it could also be
well, pretty much every single character in the group, except I think one, has some kind of magical ability. I mean, not as in magical ability, but as in they're a mage of some type. Because in Talislanta, there are many, many, many types of mage. They call them magical orders. And pretty much everyone is a member of some magical order or other.
Have you ever dreamed of playing Ding Dong Ditch? We got a job for you.
UPS. What did I order? I don't know either.
Hey, Doc.
Hey, what's up, Hungar?
Yeah. At some point, this guy is going to catch a beating in Valtech so bad, he's going to remember it all the way back to Tennessee.
Oh yeah, you got him in person. You gotta stomp on him in battle.
That's a cat man.
Those 7-Eleven Shirley Temples are badass, dude.
Oh, the 7-Eleven soda Shirley Temples, the
The
sugar-free
7-Up,
ones?
yeah.
Yeah, 7-Up.
I was going to buy
7-Eleven, I'm like, what?
I was going to buy some of those when I saw them. but
It's
was-
sugar-free 7-Up, but they're Shirley Temples.
Yeah, the day before I came down here, I didn't want to buy 12 packs of soap.
Actually, I'm pretty sure the wife bought sugar-free Baja Blast just for you.
Yeah, she bought a bunch of zero sugar stuff because your wife is a lot cooler than you are.
Well, yeah, I know that. I mean, I've never disagreed with that. So even though this guy is a cat, in Talislanta, he would be a Jacka scout.
Nice. I'm actually want to play Talislanta.
Well, it'll be in the future.
Yeah, like next game is in the future.
No, we're playing the One Ring, and you guys are hiding out from trolls.
And we could always be hiding from those trolls. If we're hitting good enough, they ain't gonna find us.
You're not hidden good enough. You're in a ruined farmhouse that they wrecked and ate all the people who used to live there.
Trolls have that dog-like sense of smell, though. Remember?
Well, these are Tolkien trolls too, so they gotta wait till night. And they're hiding in this ruined tower, laying underneath what they call troll shawls, which are woven reeds with mud and stuff on them so that the sun won't hit them. And as soon as the sun sets, they're going to cross the stream and go to the ruined farmhouse and theoretically eat the player characters. However, half the group stealthed into the farmhouse. So the trolls think there's 4 people in this farmhouse. They don't know there's like 9. So we'll see how that shit goes. I think it's interesting how Talislanta has all of these game-breaking tropes like flying, water-breathing, multi-armed, etc. Like many people scream about being terrible, and yet Talislanta does fine with these high-power concepts. Yeah, because it's just normal.
Yeah.
And
It depends entirely on the setting whether or not it's going to break things.
Yeah,
if it's designed with that in
Talislanta
mind.
tells you right off the bat, this is an alien world. This is
like
not
if you added like flying creatures to like a Middle Earth or something, that would kind of break the setting. But if as long as the system's designed around it,
right, like Hungar's character with his, because you get to modify the character templates by spending 35 XP and adding +3 to whatever attribute you want, and then -1 from an attribute. So I spent most of his XP giving him +3 to aerial combat.
oh, cool.
So if he's actually gliding above somebody, he gets a free dodge against any attacks versus him. And he gets a bonus when he's shooting ranged weapons at non-flyers. But you have to remember in Talislanta, your character starts with like 10 to 15 hit points. And a longsword does die 10 hit points. And if the character swinging the longsword has like +6 in their strength attribute, well, that's die 10 +6.
Yeah,
And that means if you're not wearing armor to soak that shit, you can one-shot be dead. And of course, like I said, Talislanta, half of the beings living on the continent of Talislanta have the ability to use magic. And the basic ability that all magic users have is enchantment. Every magic user of every order can enchant things. And that means having a character start with like bracers of levitation or +1 sword or some shit. That's nothing. Because low level magic items are as common as non-magic items. If you go to the city of Cimmeria, the city of Jade or whatever, Emerald or whatever, like almost every Cimmerillian is a mage. That's all they do. So if you go into a weapons store in Cimmeria looking for, there's going to be magic items there. And I know a lot of people hate the idea of magic stores, but in Talislanta, in that particular city, that would be the norm. Because half of the population of that city can enchant items. You know, it's like, but then you can go to other places like where the Thrall are from, the Kingdom of Taz. They can't even conceive of magic. Therefore, they can't use it. They can't even conceive of it. To them, magic is this weird ass thing that they just don't even understand. And then you have like race specific magic. So if somebody's playing a gnomekin, they can choose to be a crystalmancer, and all of their magic is evolved around crystals. You know what I mean? Like my wife's character, she's an elementalist, which means she had to choose which element. She chose air. So she is an aeromancer. So she can use air spells. The only spell thing you can't choose to start with in the game is necromancy or necromancy. No one gets to start with necromancy. If you want it, you got to learn it. And to learn a magic's order with XP costs 30 XP to go to just learn it at +1 and takes 6 months. So, I mean, yeah, you can learn magic, but it's 6 months and 30 XP. That's a lot. I mean, really, the thing is actually the time when you think about it. Like, your character is out of the game for half a year. But that's why I painted this thing, because, like I've always said, Eberron is just the Wish version of Talislanta.
Oh, cool! I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, it's actually was supposed to be for Eberron, but I will use it for Talislanta because my wife's character starts the game with the ability to pilot and fix and work on airships.
Ah, cool.
And airships are not super uncommon in Talislanta. But then again, there's a lot of flying creatures too. So you're on your airship. That don't mean you're safe. I mean, there's a lot of creatures that hate your guts that can fly up and get you, you know? Yeah. Plus there's enemy nations that have their own airships and will raid you. So
that's cool against some aerial battles.
Yeah, the Epic Edition Player's Handbook has the full rules for airship combat.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
It also has all the rules for mass combat, which the next time I see Raven on, I'll need to tell him, because he always asks about every role-playing game, does it have mass combat? The Epic Edition of Talislanta does.
I'm a big proponent of mass combat systems in fantasy games, because that's a big thing. That's a big part of it, having giant
battles. If your character decides to lead an army, it has the rules for it and how it works and the skill checks you have to take and this and that, and you know. But yeah, Talislanta, like Shark is 100% right. Half of the classes that exist in Talislanta, if you tried to work them into like any version of D&D, people would be like, "What in the actual F is that?" You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe this guy's playing a bird guy, right? Or a cat person, a tabaxi, right? But in Talislanta, somebody's like, "I'm playing a Jacka, bounty hunter," which is basically a cat person. And everybody's like, "All right." There's a whole kingdom of the bastards. So it's like,
I'm usually not a big fan of anthropomorphic races, but I really am, like in Dragonbane. It fits somehow. it works in there.
Yeah, they work in Talislanta because basically the first people on Talislanta were the Beastmen, and then the Acarians started becoming an empire, and they're humans. And they started basically effing with the Beastmen, like, you know, mutating them and doing experiments with them. And then they had a big war with the Phaedron. And 1,000 years later, you know, these different kingdoms rise up of humans, but the Beastmen, a lot of them never forgot. So then, a couple hundred years before the current era of Talislanta, someone united all the Beastmen tribes, the subhumans, as they're called, and they invaded the civilized lands, and they wiped out like half of the kingdoms, just completely gone now. And so the Jacka lost their kingdom and were forced to move into the seven kingdoms. But the Gnomekin, who never go above ground if they can help it, they just told the Jacka they could have the surface above their subterranean nation.
Nice.
So, yeah, because the Gnomekin, if they go above the surface, they have to wear these special amber lenses over their eyes or they're blind.
They have like night vision, permanent night vision.
Yeah, they have night vision while they're underground, but they can't see in sunlight for shit. And they're the ones that are, you can either play a warrior or a crystalmancer. And the warrior starts with a crystal bladed sword that's enchanted so that it ignores half of the armor defense of your opponent. Because it's so razor sharp. And then the crystalmancer can just do all kinds of weird crystal magic, you know, like, you know, cause crystals to grow or shoot a crystal spear at somebody or create a crystal weapon or whatever. And they're constantly at wars in the tunnels because at this point, the kingdom of Dern, which is the Gnomekin kingdom, is as big as all the 9 kingdoms because they've dug so many highways and caverns and stuff out.
When I hear Crystalmancer, I can't help but think it's some like chick, like hippie chick, like this would like totally fix your vibes, man.
Yeah, Crystalmancer, or some dude with like a 2-liter bottle and a bunch of chemicals. I'm a Crystalmancer, man.
Walter
You know,
White.
he's got some swords on him.
Little Walter White gnome. I am the one who knows.
Yeah, you can in the old game play a giant. That's true. In the new one, they've made the giants NPC only. You can also play the Lyrans, who are basically humans, but they have bluish skin and they live in the Arctic. And cold weather doesn't bother them. So they're just wandering around the Arctic in like normal clothes and shit. You can play a type of automaton that exists from the time of the War of the Wizards. And now they just kind of hang out because they don't know what to do with themselves, you know, because their masters are all dead. I mean, when it comes to all the archetypes you can play, there's a lot of them. The Ultimate Edition gets rid of about 40 of the archetypes you used to be able to play, and makes those NPC only, and that's pretty good. They left some in that I still don't think you could play, like the Ammonite Paladin, the Ammonite Inquisitor, the Ammonite Priest, because they're religious zealots. And they pretty much think everyone that don't believe exactly the way they believe is a heretic and needs to be killed, right? So how do you work that into a group? Unless everyone in the whole group is that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, some of that.
Even though they're playable, they're not really playable.
Yeah.
But you just take the 9 kingdoms, which used to be the 7 kingdoms, and that's always been the good guy realm. It's 7 different races that all decide to form a confederation with the Silmarillions kind of at the top. And, you know, that's awesome because no matter what the players pick, they know each other. Because they're all from basically the same region. They speak the same language. You know, they might even use the same currencies. They might have served together in the army, the militia. So, yeah.
I'll be right back. I gotta hit the take a bathroom break. I'll be right back.
Well, I'm going to end this. It's been two
Oh,
and a half
okay.
hours, and I think that Hungar is waiting to eat.
Okay. Can't keep Hungar waiting,
Can't keep Hungar
or
waiting.
he will become
Thanks
the
for joining,
Stardarian.
though, Doc.
Oh, absolutely. I will catch you later, man. Everybody in chat, you have a great day.
You too. You too, and everybody in chat also. And also, yeah, Talislanta is pretty awesome. It's always been like one of my favorite settings, and the actual game mechanics are super easy. You just roll on a chart, a die 20. You roll a die 20, you add your attribute and skill bonus, and you look at a chart, and depending on what you roll, it's whether you crit fail or crit succeed or anywhere in between. It's really easy. And just mind-boggling from a normal low magic. Well, but you can play mud-covered characters in Talislanta because you can play mudmen. They're the 6-limbed creatures with like 4 legs and 2 arms that live in the swamp and spend all their time like scouring the swamp for amber. And then they trade the amber. And then you have the other 6-armed people. I have one right here, the Ahazu. And you can play one of them. And their whole gig is they basically hate everyone else. And they also are not above eating the dead bodies of people they kill. So that's something you could play. And then in Talislanta, the alignments are true believer, which means you believe whatever your culture believes, non-believer, amoral, neutral, and I think that's about it. There might be one more. So it's not like saying my character's lawful good. It's like saying my character believes all of the same things as my culture does. Or my character's completely amoral and only believes in what he wants when he wants it and doesn't give a shit what anyone else thinks about it. So, or you can just be neutral where you're like, whatever. But it's a great system. It really is a shame that it doesn't get the love that, I feel like it should get. But with that said, I'm actually going to log off now. So peace and love to all of you guys. Have a wonderful Sunday and a wonderful rest of your week. I'll see you tomorrow night. And I'll talk more about how you can purchase from Reaper figures that were made for D&D but can easily be painted up to be Talislanta figures. Like this cat guy with a bow, he can easily be painted up to be a Jacka bounty hunter. I just got to paint him all black except for the mane of his hair is white. And then there you go. He's a Jacka bounty hunter. If you take a Goliath and you paint it super colorful, it's a thrall. So there's a lot of ways to get around the fact that they don't make a lot of miniatures for this. Hoorah to you, Shark. Enjoy your day, my Marine friend, and everyone else. And we will talk